Judgment time.
Welcome to Everything Goes Back to 2000AD, and today we're joined by Mr. Stephen Ross.
Mr. Rossy, what you want? Oh, a tree of ice cream cones, a cocoa castle for a home, custard cakes, coffee breaks, holiday world to say.
Hello from on again, off again, rainy Southern California. Not like rainy in the UK, California, but still rainy for us.
The potato capital of the world, Mr. John Burtis.
Hello to all you rockers out there from a sunny but probably classed as chilly southeast of England, which means it's the Garden of England, which means it's the most beautiful place in the world, and it's always like that. And yet again, when I returned to work in my shorts and t-shirt last night, it was -4. I got asked the same questions: aren't you cold? And in the end, I just went, well, if I was cold, why am I wearing this? I said, you're all soft Southerners, and you all get my tits.
Cold is just a state of mind.
That's right. And I was sexually assaulted many times at the other place I was working in London, because one of the women couldn't stop getting her hands on my arms to feel how warm I was, because she was like a dead corpse. Not like that many living corpses, apart from in the movies.
Right.
Talking about corpses, you got any deaths, John? You should have a
I
lot.
have indeed.
Move this along.
This one broke when we recorded last, not when I was with Mr. Ross and Flint. Sorry, when I was Mr. Ross and Flint, not like the last time when Mr. Ross was pretending to be me. Yes, it wasn't me, people. I know, it's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this was Chris Rea, age 74. He was an English singer-songwriter. Now, he was from Middlesbrough.
He wasn't driving home for Christmas, was he?
Well, I used to sing, I'm not driving home for Christmas. I don't want to see those faces. That was my thing, because obviously I don't see many of my family, apart from my one sister. And we had a big chat about all that madness earlier on, which you missed. It was on our Patreon, which we haven't done. We just made that up. So, yeah, he was born in Middlesbrough, which is this town just below the greatest town of the world, Hartlepool. And his famous song is... well, the Driving Home from Christmas is basically his fucking pension hit, because it was always played. But
so it's like Slade, Merry Christmas.
If you go on and do like sort of like best money from Christmas singles, Slade are up there. But you look at it and you go, fuck me, they get that every year. And you're like, yeah, that's why you got to fucking, if you're going to do a hit, you do that fucking hit. But he had stuff like Fool If You Think It's Over. Was it God, what was that highway one, the motorway one? Which wasn't,
that's a good one.
It wasn't about the M25. It was actually about driving home as well. Again, driving up something like the A19 or the A1M or something like that.
Is that the one that they used in the Cars movie, the Pixar movie?
I wouldn't know.
I bet you he was pissed off when Gary Newman did Cars, because he cornered that market.
Yeah.
Chris Rea doing all his driving songs.
That's it. I'm just looking, it goes here. I Can Hear Your Heartbeat. I remember that one. Stainsby Girls. I remember that one. Josephine. Let's Dance. Driving Home for Christmas. Where's it at? Come on. Oh
Are
God,
they
yeah.
hidden with the ads? Is the website hidden with ads?
No, it's Wikipedia going into that,
Mm.
but sometimes they're really shit because obviously they're still fanning about because of the recent death. You know what I mean? So some things are not quite there.
Mm.
But yeah. So sadly, he is gone. Then we've got Perry Bamonte, age 65, English Rock Museum, fucking hell, musician. Known best for his work with The Cure as the guitarist and keyboardist.
Oh yeah.
But he was also a bassist for Love Amongst Ruin, which I've never heard of. But yeah, it's. I mean, obviously, everyone knows Robert Smith from The Cure. But it says. So when you see like. What was that one? They were getting some award for a lifetime achievement thing at Grammys or something. And the presenter said something like, oh, The Cure, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I bet you're really excited about this. And he just went, well, obviously not as excited as you, obviously, because she was but yeah. But yeah, I think when you've got like a group where the frontman is larger than life, then the other members sort of get lost in it, unless you become like a global group that mega fast, which I would add at the time. You know, obviously the Beatles, Rolling Stones, you know all them members, but with like something like Duran Duran, they were everywhere in those early 80s. So every member of the group was well known. But with something like The Cure, you just knew the fucking main man. So yeah, sadly he is gone. Then we have a big name that died over the Christmas period. And it was funny watching the way people were saying her name, because it's Brigitte Bardot, but even in the news bits, people kept doing Bridget and also Brigitte, even in the same piece. The person thing, and I was laughing because I'd had that thing with Carol and go, "Where's Bridget Bardot?" And Carol went, "It's Brigitte." I said, "Well, I know it's Brigitte, but we say here Bridget." I said, "Because what? Let's watch the news." And then it was back and forth, so it was quite funny. Anyway, this fascist, racist, far right woman, age 91, was a French actress. And she was married once, two, three times she was married. She was in famously in And God Created Women. She was nicknamed a sex kitten at the time. And she did, it was like the sexual revolution. She was part of that when it happened. And a lot of people sort of copied that look she had. And then she sort of left acting quite early in her life, and then she became like an animal lover, and she did a lot of posts anti-Muslim, and then she was all this and the other. I think she got fined quite a few times for this sort of stuff.
Yeah, she got sued a few times by the French government.
That's right, but she just fucking believed what she believed. And
well, this is the same French government that are locking people up for bullying Macron's wife, saying she's a man.
Oh,
people are going to jail over that.
Well, it's like England, isn't it? Well, Britain, we arrest 33 people on average a day for something they've said on the internet. I mean, even Russia, China, and who knows what happens in North Korea, but Russia and China don't do that. So we're leading the world in locking people up for thoughts. But you're allowed to say stuff, anti-Jewish stuff, and say you want all them dead, or anti-white people, like that fucking Egyptian that we gave English nationality to, and they got him out of jail in Egypt for stuff he'd been saying, finally, after some like 10 or 12 years. And then, even though they knew, then they look on all these stars from the TV and film, including Americans, like fucking Incredible Hulk bloke, were saying, "Oh, we need him out because this is not right. This is not right. You said some stuff," and then he gets jailed. Then they get told, "Well, he said this stuff. Death to Jews, death to police, all white people are monkeys and fucking goats, death to white people, honky stuff, Jews, all this sort of stuff." And then they were all like, "Can you just tell us why you wanted him out of prison?" I've got nothing to say now. So that's him. But anyway, so Brigitte Bardot, very famous through her beautiful looks, and then obviously with their
and being naked.
Well, yes, but mainly through her animal sort of rights stuff. She became a Catwoman, didn't she? Really,
crazy cat lady.
That's it. And talking about crazy ladies, Cecilia Jimenez, age 94, Spanish nutcase. I've written.
Oh,
she was the woman who tried to repair the original fresco of the Ecce Homo.
Oh,
and basically rubbed the face away.
Wow, she died, huh?
Yeah, she died, but she did that, and it was global news. That wasn't it? I've seen all the reports like across the world.
Was her casket over? Did she have an open casket in the?
And then
mortician redid her face.
That's it. Oh dear. Then we also have Isaiah Whitlock Jr., age 71, an American actor who starred in, are you ready for this? Gremlins 2, Goodfellas. Let me go down. But fucking where's it gone? These are all the films that aren't really well known. But he was in Pete's Dragon, Chips, Cars 3, Black Klansman, which I thought was hilarious. Here we go. Television. Cagney and Lacey. Law and Order. Fucking hell, loads of Law and Order. Including all the variants. Criminal Intent, Special Victims Unit. NYPD Blue. The Wire. He was in that for 22 episodes. That would be what he's mainly known for.
Oh, he's the guy from the clip that goes, shit.
Oh, well, you know these things, especially that other one you love. Gay!
Oh, yeah.
I thought I did a good impersonation of that one.
You forgot the, ha, gay!
Oh, see? Oh, dear. Yeah, so he's in Veep, The Blacklist, Gotham, Lucifer, The Mist, Kevin Can Wait, and then the final thing he was in was Your Honor, which hasn't, well, it doesn't say he's got any episodes on this, but he's got a character. But yeah, so he was in quite a lot of stuff, films and TV. So obviously it's another one of those character actors who you don't really know about unless they sort of like are in a couple of films that you really love, and then you go, hang on a second, wasn't he in that film that I watched the other day, sort of thing. So whether, I mean, that's the sort of thing you have movie stars who just play themselves in every film, like The Rock, Schwarzenegger, even Tom Cruise to an extent. Then you have proper actors who are all British, who can actually act, and then you have character actors who are a mishmash between Brits and Americans, who are the ones who are basically never out of work because they're so fucking in demand. Even though it's like tiny little parts they do, they've always got something to go to. So
reliable.
And that's the. Do you know what? with the movie star, your day ends, doesn't it? You sometimes you've had two fucking misses in a row and you're fucking gone. We never see you again. Basically, you drop down into the fucking C-list, fucking straight to video shit.
It reminds me of that guy. Remember that one actor, Rossy, he was really hot in the 90s on a crime show, and then he decided to do some movies. The gingerhead guy.
He was in
then he did a movie and it was flop. Yeah, and then the movie was in flopped, and that was it. That's the last I heard of him.
Yeah.
Who was it, John? Was
Caracos, David Caracos, something like that?
Yeah.
Oh,
David
the guy
something.
from David Caruso.
Caruso, that's it.
Yeah.
He jumped too quick to just say "fuck yous," I'm going to the movies, and it all went tits up. And I think he did one season of that show, the NYPD thing, and he was fucking highly rated in that. But yeah, he listened to the wrong people, or he fucking thought himself too big, and it all went. And it was the wrong time to do it, because I would say like that NYPD Blue was not the beginning, but it was part of that wave of where TV was excellent. It was better than most films, because they actually fucking could let characters breathe and bring fucking more to them. So it took a while for like the big names to then go into TV to go, do you know what? I want to fucking actually flesh this person out and fucking really enjoy it. I mean, you could look back at like the original Star Treks and things like that, but that was just like majority were like one and done episodes, so you never really fleshed anything out. But with the storylines in NYPD Blue and Hill Street Blues and God knows whatever, even the hospital dramas, they fleshed stuff out as well, didn't they?
Well, they were just like soap operas with solve the crime plots.
Yeah. But and then the final thing, the final death is NGOs. Goodbye, NGOs, you fraudulent fuckers.
NGOs.
Well, they're actually investigating Act Blue, which is the Democrat organization where they basically money launder. So the government is investigating those as well.
No,
those guys.
Money launder. God,
is that, so is that the?
You missed. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. Go for it.
You did miss one death, John, and it happened today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the death of Ruben Amorim's Manchester United career. I can't believe they sacked him. I mean, they stuck with him through one of the worst periods of United's history last season, where they were nearly relegated. Right, he lost a European final. They kept with him. He ended up getting rid of the troublemakers in the squad, and this season he lost a few players to the African Nations Cup, whatever that is. Bruno Fernandes is injured. He's got a very thin squad, and yet they're in fourth place in the league, and they sacked him. And I think they sacked him because he questioned the hierarchy. He didn't like the thing is, when you get a manager in, he has to be in control of the transfers. He has to be the one that says, well, I want this player, I want that player. And when you interfere with that, you interfere with the manager's vision. So it came to a bit of a loggerheads, and so Jason Wilcox, which I think is the director of football, they didn't get on in the last few weeks, and so Almiron came out and criticized which you can't do. You can't criticize your employer and expect it to survive, and they sacked him. And I think United are a joke club. It's they should have stuck with Almiron. If he has a vision and a plan, stick with him. He had a 3-year plan, a 3-season plan. You stole him from the Portuguese league. Told him he needed to move now in order to get the job, and he did. And he joined United mid-season, which is never ideal because he didn't have a pre-season with United. Yeah. And the guy was doomed from the beginning. It's like such a mess. The club is such a mess, and part of me wishes that the fucking Saudis or the Qataris had taken the club instead of Radcliffe. But yeah, they're just a joke club now. But Almiron's Man United career, and I guarantee you, whatever club he goes to next, he'll do fantastic with them.
Yeah.
So that's the death of Almiron's Manchester United career.
Well, my Londoner Chelsea supporting co-workers said something about that they lost their manager too, or something.
Well, yeah, he did the same thing. Mariska, his name is. He criticized again. This is a club that's challenging for top 4, and they were doing really well. And he again questioned the management, the hierarchy of the club, and he was gone. He was gone that week. So you know, you can't. Unfortunately, you can't bash your employer and expect to get away with it. You know, and I think in Almiron's case, it was like, oh, either it's me or him, and so the owners backed Wilcox, the director of football, over the manager. You know, so yeah, the club's a mess, and the thing is that they've got the club has got no balls either, because if they had balls, they'd have Roy Keane in there as manager, and I guarantee if Roy Keane got in there as manager, there would be half of those United players would be gone out the window. You know, they're just pampered. They're pampered professionals, and that's the era we live in. For example, Ruben Amorim said that, you know, as a manager, my door is always open, and players have an issue or a problem, they can come in and talk to me. But instead, they don't. They go on social media and vent.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, which is you can't do that. I mean, that's just as a professional, that's totally unprofessional. So, but that's the young kids today. They get everything handed to them, and so the likes of there are a lot of really good, serious professional footballers. But then you have these younger kids coming up, and they have everything too soon. And they think they're the bee's knees, and they turn out to not to be. That's why Garnacho was sold. Garnacho was a terrific little winger for United, and Ruben Amorim dropped him a couple of times, and he went on social media and complained about it. And it's like, you can't do that. But there's no person that's bigger than the club. At the end of the day, the club is bigger than that person. So Amorim ended up selling him. That's what happens. So we'll see what happens now, but I'm not too optimistic. I think, with United in fourth place, only a couple of points off top four, and they sack him with all the problems that United had is absolutely disgraceful. I don't think they give managers enough time. Although Amorim's had more time than other United managers, but it's still not. It's not enough. You got to have stability, and you can't have stability if you keep on fucking chopping and changing. Because what happens now is, like, when Amorim inherited that squad, he inherited players that he didn't want, and he still has some of those players at the club. That you can't get rid of all in one go. You have to slowly get them out the door over a few transfer windows. And now the problem is whenever they'll have an interim manager, Darren Fletcher's taken over, and then they'll appoint an interim manager, and then next season they have to start all over again because the new manager will come in and go, well, this player doesn't fit my way of doing things, so they'll have to rebuild all over again. It's such a they're a fucking clown show.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's my debt. If you want to do, we got a good one today. Adventures in Trumpland.
Oh, you go ahead. I'm gonna go pee again. I'll be right back.
Right, there was a,
I'm not touching the phone. So
there was a little small matter of Trump doing a clinical strike and taking out Maduro from Venezuela. Now,
no, it's at war. It's the war. Don't you get it wrong? They're at war.
But there's no planes fighting each other, or tanks fighting each other, or soldiers fighting each other. So how's that war?
Well, I did see a post where it was like a meme saying, like, Americans went to sleep, and when they woke up, Venezuela was leaderless.
That's true, because it happened at nighttime.
Yeah.
The amount of planning and execution for that is amazing, absolutely amazing. I think it's a once in a lifetime kind of thing. That everything went as well as it did, and there was no casualties on the US side. Now, there were a couple of injuries, but there was no casualties, no deaths, which is, again, incredible. But I mean, they're saying that Trump went in there for the oil because it's like doom, the spice rules the world or whatever. Like, yeah, but not only that, Trump is a big fan of the Monroe Doctrine, and I don't know if you know what the Monroe Doctrine is. Is that the United States has every right to take care of situations or conditions in its own hemisphere, right? If you have a rogue nation like Venezuela, which it has been for the last 20 plus years, and Maduro is making friends with your enemies, Russia, given these countries the foothold in South America, in the Americas, Russia, Iran, China, Cuba, you take the fucker out. End of story. I mean, it's Russia has done the same thing with Ukraine. When Ukraine threatened to join NATO, Russia had no choice but to go in and give it a smack, and Russia did the same with Georgia. When Georgia had a leader that wasn't Russia friendly right on their doorstep, Putin had to go in and take care of it. And every country acts in its own self-interests, and the United States definitely acted in its own self-interest to take care of Maduro. Now, Maduro was nurturing relationships with Russia, Hezbollah, and Iran, and it was eagerly becoming a part of Red China's Belt and Road Initiative. Now, you don't know what that is, you'll have to look it up. China's Belt and Road Initiative. You can Google it really easy. Basically, it's China trying to make inroads into South America, which is the United States' sphere of influence. And I wasn't going to stand. He was a narco-terrorist. He released prisoners and Tren de Aragua, another cartel members into the United States under when Biden had open borders. He but Maduro was just not a good guy. He was doing fentanyl and cocaine. He killed thousands of his own people, thousands of political prisoners, rotting in jails. He killed thousands of Americans. He was done. He had to be taken out, and I think they made the right move. And there is no war in Venezuela. It's going to be a peaceful transition to somebody that's friendly to the United States. That's the way it's going to be from now on. The United States cannot allow Russia, China, Cuba, Iran to have a foothold in the Americas. End of story. And if it's about oil, then so what? Or you think Russia and China were there for the good of their health? They were down there to learn how to make fajitas or burritos? No, they were there to get oil too. So
there's a YouTube channel I like now called Izzy's World, and he does a lot of stuff about the occult and conspiracy stuff.
No,
it's a different flavor from the other guys that I follow. He's a young guy and he's pretty entertaining. Seems very, very smart, and makes good videos. Unfortunately, almost all of them are longer than 10 minutes, so you guys will never watch them. But thanks to the miracle of 1.5x speed, it's closer to more like 12 minutes. And so he dropped a video about this, and so did the really graceful lady that I like as well.
Well, there was a conspiracy theory that I said as well in the group chat after it happened. Yeah. I said the conspiracy theorist to me is like, well, Trump didn't do anything really that much against Maduro in his first term. He just didn't recognize his presidency, said he's illegitimate and blah, 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 but didn't take any action. Under Biden, the same thing happened. Biden's like, oh, Maduro's illegitimate. He's not a proper world leader. And all the European Union agreed, and the majority of countries agreed he's not legitimate. He rigged the election to stay in power. So, but when 2020 hit, they remember the Kraken with Sidney Powell.
Yeah.
She talked about how Venezuela was using Smartmatic and Dominion machines, and how they changed the algorithm or changed the votes in the United States to rig it for Biden. Right. And I was thinking when he went in on Venezuela that one of the reasons Trump was so adamant to get Maduro was because Venezuela did actually help rig one of many ways, rig the U.S. election in 2020, right? And that's my conspiracy, me with my tinfoil hat on. And lo and behold, today, Trump is posting videos of election rigging in 2020. So it's got to be connected. And I guarantee you, probably at some stage later this year, July, August, there will be a big report on how the 2020 election was hijacked. And everybody that said and knew that it will be totally vindicated.
Okay. I mean, they've been pretty slow to act on the lengthy list of things that needed to be addressed from during that whole period.
Well, that's because it's a lengthy list of things, Rossy.
Yeah, because of everything between the way the lockdowns came to be and what happened during that era and that election and the Epstein files and everything else. It's a long list, and it's slow to come true. But anyway, so this guy,
you won't learn anything about the Epstein files at all.
Yeah, I know.
Because he was an intelligent asset. And so they're not going to reveal. They're not going to. That's why you see a lot of stuff redacted. You're not going to see anything about that. You're going to see what Trump said. You're going to see pictures of Epstein with all these celebrities and things, and then people are going to put one and one together and come up with six.
Yeah,
you've seen that already with you've seen it already with Chris Tucker, where he's in a picture with Ghislaine Maxwell on a plane, and then
there were
at
a
some
lot of people
meeting, and Tucker said, "Well, that was a charity thing I was attending. I wasn't on Epstein Island." But you're going to get a lot of that where people put one and one together and get six.
Yeah, I mean, rich people just all know each other, so which is exactly what I've been saying. It's like it's not necessarily well. Funnily enough, I used to say, well, it's not like all like eyes wide shut, where they're like in a dark room with lights underneath their faces, and it's conspiring away. It's just they all go to the same social clubs, and they all go to the same parties, and they all go to the same events and all that, and they get their pictures taken with each other, and then over drinks and hors d'oeuvres is like, hey buddy, how'd you like to buy my golf club? Hey buddy, how'd you like to buy my girlfriend? Hey buddy, how'd you like to? So that's how that seems to be how that works. Anyway, so the conspiracy guy is called Izzy's World, and he said that this thing is really nuanced, and it's like, it's not all, oh, we're trying to get oil, and it's not all, oh, Trump's bad, and it's not all, he says there's so many moving parts.
Because if it was only about oil, the U.S. would have done it years ago.
Right, and he said, well, there's also some. He said that if it was all about something else, he says the U.S. would have done it too. But so he says, there are some things where the optics are bad, or bad things may come of it, but he also said that good things are things that almost everybody would agree, like, oh, we got rid of a narco guy, and there's no more fentanyl coming in,
and the thing is, all these rogue nations or these other people that are compromised, the likes of Sheinbaum in Mexico, who's basically, Trump said the cartel runs Mexico. She's just a figurehead. I guarantee you they woke up the next morning and went, holy crap, we're going to have to be careful. I'm sure the Iranian leadership did the same thing and went, holy crap, look what he did. And also it'll probably stop China and Russia from being really aggressive. It'll definitely might stop China from trying to take Taiwan, because in order to have wars, you need a lot of energy. And China was getting a lot of energy from Venezuela. And so was Cuba, and so was Russia. So that might hamstring them a bit, and it might actually force Putin to the table a lot quicker than what was expected. So we'll see what happens.
Well, that was the other thing he said too, is like, he says you're seeing the videos of the people partying in the streets, but he says they're not all.
Well, the mainstream media don't.
Well, that he said that he says they're not all like news videos that could be edited or shot in a certain way to be propaganda. He says these are like aerial shots taken from citizens, or people.
Yeah, I don't think ABC, CNN, or any of those channels showed any of that.
Okay, well,
because Orange Man bad.
Yeah, because I saw him just. My feed's like, oh, you like conspiracies? Well, here you go. So. So and some of the people like Kim Iverson, she's like, what the fuck, man, about it. So it's there's a what the fuck element to it, but there's also like, well, but look at how happy some of the Venezuelan people seem to be, and these are actual Venezuelans that are happy about it, and there will be oil, so, and resources, so
well, this administration is smart enough to know that they're not going to do it in Iraq, they're not going to do it in Afghanistan. They're going to go in and install their own puppet, right? Their own person that they can trust. That actually will be good. That will be good, not for the cartels, but for the people. As long as they play ball, they know they're going to be fine. And so you're going to see Venezuela probably restored to some. You're going to see a lot of Venezuelans return home and be happy. So overall, I think has the potential to be a great thing, a good thing. Taking out a narco terrorist that had bad bedfellows is always a good thing. But go ahead.
So the final thing he said, he says sometimes he admitted, he says sometimes the propaganda does get to him, but he's also got a good eye for spotting propaganda too. It's kind of like pro wrestling. It's kind of like you know which part of it's fake, but then there's a part of it that you're like, I'm not so sure, But he said that the Chinese diplomats had just been there a few hours.
They were just there that day.
Yeah. He says then the strike happened, and then they're like stuck there. He goes, his words were, I gotta admit, that's based as fuck.
Well, he also hit in one of the airstrikes. He hit Chavez's tomb as well.
Yeah, I heard about that too.
Yeah, and that wasn't done out of spite. That was done because I think they were using his tomb to manufacture a lot of the drugs.
Okay.
So yeah, but again, that's pretty based.
Yeah.
We're not only going to take your leader, Maduro, we're also going to get this motherfucker that was there before him.
Yeah. He's already dead. It seems kind of redundant, but okay. It was symbolic.
No, we're going symbolic. Yeah, we're going to take it. Yeah. It's like somebody taking out. That's why when they flew him into New York, they flew around the Statue of Liberty.
Well, I've seen those videos where Trump's flying a jet, and then he opens the Bombay doors, and poop comes out, and he poops all over everything, and poop. And I totally believe them, because I can't tell the difference between AI and an AI cartoon and real.
Well, he did put other countries on notice by doing that. I mean, he talked about Mexico. He talked about Colombia as well. And he talked about Cuba. He thinks that Cuba is a failing state. It's nearly on its knees. And with this latest action in Venezuela, there's the interesting thing is that Maduro's security people were mainly Cubans. Like, he didn't trust his own people. So that's
Cuba
kind of a
could use some democracy,
freedom.
Yeah, bring some freedom to Cuba.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
So I'm sure Blue Sky. I'm sure
Estefan could be president of Cuba.
I'm sure Blue Sky lit up with all the idiots with their bad takes on the following the news that Maduro being captured. I mean, one of the worst takes I've read on the internet was that. So he's not gonna. This is a distraction from the Epstein files. I'm like, oh my god. The pedophiles taking Venezuela as a distraction from the Epstein file. No, it's not.
You know what? If that happens, like going riffing on what my guy said on YouTube, if that's a byproduct of it, then somebody's going to benefit from that too. So
no, they're releasing. They're going to keep on releasing whatever they have.
It's super nuanced, and I'm going like, you know what? If that's part of it, then fine, because what can I do about it no matter what? So,
yeah, some of the bad takes are unbelievable. I looked at it going, it's like, where the fuck does this person get their news from? I mean, do they not go on
whatever
like,
degree
what the hell?
of whatever degree? I mean, if you go like outside of whatever the fourth level chess or whatever, and there's like other byproducts and all that, it's like there's going to be byproducts upon byproducts that nobody foresaw, and I'm not gonna. You can't say that they planned that, and you can't say that it's just something that's going to happen because it's huge, and there's going to be like, it's not going to be like dominoes falling in order. It's just going to be like somebody took the box of dominoes, threw it on the floor. So,
well, that's basically what Trump did.
Yeah, he just threw the box on the floor. So
he said, "Fuck this game, I'm in charge."
And the thing is, like, so for British. I'm shocked by how much of the stuff doesn't go overseas. But like, so for our British listeners or listeners overseas, Portland, which is a city in Oregon, is infamous and famous for being like super left leaning, like social, almost. If there's ever a city that's going to elect another socialist mayor, it's going to be Portland, and they are like comically so. Maybe I don't know if that show John, did that Portlandia show make its way over there?
No, I don't know that name.
Okay. There's a TV show called Portlandia, but that was just when they were kind of like a weird, trying hard to be weird, artsy town. But now it's like so politically left leaning. It's like comedically so. So within hours of the strike, there were people like marching on the streets with banners and wearing
paid for by a Chinese billionaire.
You know what?
Strange,
you know what? I don't believe that.
You can dump. No, it's true.
I don't believe that. I like this.
Most of those protesters were paid for because all the signs were the same, printed in the same, with the same slogans.
So that Karlin Borisenko lady, she addressed a lot of that paid for stuff. There's some of it that might be like they might have paid for the signs, but like the people themselves, they're so brainwashed that they're out there and like maybe somebody gave them a free sandwich and that's like their payment. You get a free sign and a sandwich. But they were out there triple masked, so, marching through Portland with a sign in Spanish, because with their sign in Spanish saying like "no es bueno" or whatever the fuck they were trying to get across. But they're all, they're, even though they're triple masked, you can tell that they're mostly white people and a lot of boomers. So it's like, okay,
yeah, they're all chanting the same slogans.
Right. You wanted to go out for an afternoon walk on a Sunday, and so you brought your protest sign and your masks.
The minute something like that happens and you see a protest, you automatically know it's organized. It's like there's. I mean, it wasn't even a fucking hour after Maduro they heard about the raid that they're already out in the street.
Yeah, that kind of protest, I can see it. The ones like the Kings and some of the
But they don't want any kings and no dictators. Yet they're like, how dare you take Maduro, who's a dictator, off the board?
How dare you take out a dictator? Well, yeah. because well, I don't have to explain.
You broke international law. No, he didn't. He didn't break international law at all.
Okay, so the perception is, I'm not saying this is what it is. I'm saying the perception is that Trump is a fascist. Trump is a dictator. And he did the worst thing ever. You're not supposed to punch down when you're all powerful. So he punched down to a smaller dictator in a small little country.
He's such a great dictator that he couldn't open a government.
Well, I mean, the arguments against are there. I'm not saying, the arguments against are many and they're there, but you can't, when your whole politics are based on slogans and based on 60s style, marching and protesting and repeating your slogans and chanting and having bands play at whatever place you're at to show the man who you're up against and all that. It's really hard to shake that and actually get them to be like, hey, you know what, why don't you do something that's actually going to make a change or change your life and the people around you, and then you'll have a pleasant place to live in, and maybe that'll expand outwards and other people will follow your lead, and the world could be a cooler place that way instead of you trying to fight from the top down, because that's never going to happen and never has happened. So, but what do I know? I just So,
What do you think, John? There were a lot of blue hairs complaining on Blue Sky.
Blue Sky, I thought that was fucking dead.
no,
I
they're
thought
all.
I didn't on there. You know what? I laugh at.
I mean,
Blue Sky.
tens of people.
You know when the people always.
I would usually say tens of thousands of people wrote. No, in Blue Sky, it's tens of people.
Well, they all
Well,
say.
I can tell you on MySpace, it was a fire. That guy was like mad. That one guy who's still on
that Blue
MySpace.
Sky, remember when people said after certain elections, perhaps me being in an echo chamber was the reason I didn't realise we lost. Because I just listen to my own fucking side. I don't want to listen to anybody else's. And then as soon as fucking the man who gave the world freedom, Elon Musk, bought Twitter, they all left because they didn't want to listen to other people's opinions. And you think, well, you've done exactly what you said you thought was wrong with what you were doing before, and you've gone to a place that's fucking has no relevance in the modern world. Who the fuck ever mentions Blue Sky on the news? Nobody.
Well, imagine producing and directing a movie that you want to be a huge hit, but because you hate Elon Musk so much, you get off Twitter, you go to Blue Sky to try and spread your message.
Oh, jeez. Who did that?
But
fucking David Bowie's kid.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, because I mean, of course, people have said,
because Elon's a fascist.
Oh, I know he was. I mean, I knew he was on Blue. I know they're all on Blue Sky, but I thought that was like an additional. That was like the safe space for when but they still have to deal with
the guy's an idiot. The guy's an absolute complete fucking moron. If you're trying to push your product, you want to be on the biggest platform ever to push your whatever you're pushing to sell.
That's right. If you look at the posts that go into the groups, it's always nobody's even heard the fucking post until somebody puts one up, says, "I've just seen this and I've got a screen grab of his post on Blue Sky," and you're like, well. You know, and then there's hardly any fucking interaction from anyone about the post anyway. But you laugh and just think, surely the backers would say, if you're going to fucking mention the film, you fucking put it onto all the fucking sites. You know what I mean? It's
right.
I have such fucking terrible things for this. You know what I mean? There's no mention of it on any of the fucking movie shows or any of the fucking people who talk on the internet about upcoming films. There's nothing about this. You know what I mean? Not even an inkling. But reference to what Trump's done, you know, I mean, I was sat there just going, fucking hell. But I can understand why it's happening because we have mentioned many, many years a reference what China are doing with their insidious debt and all this around the world. And if you don't know what insidious debt is, people, it's when they go into a country or many countries, and predominantly Africa to begin with, but they're trying to do a new equivalent to the Panama Canal. But we'll get to that. So they go into African countries and lend them money that they haven't got themselves anyway. And they say, we'll lend you fucking 40 billion to do this, that, and the other, full well known that the country cannot ever pay that back. And then they've got them. And that's what insidious debt is. You give them full well knowing that they're never going to be able to afford to pay it back. And then you're in the power grab position there because you can make them do whatever you want. So they've done that all.
Isn't that one of the many things that Bono was trying to fight against?
Oh, Bono, fucking hell.
No, who gives a fuck about Bono?
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, if he's for it, I'm against it.
Well, the thing is, so they're trying it in South Africa and South America and Central America. And like I said, there was that big hoo-ha about the equivalent of the Panama Canal. I can't remember which country it was going to be in. It probably might have been Panama again, just further up from it, you know what I mean, to get another route. And the locals were saying, well, from what we've seen, they're not going to employ any fucking local people. It's all going to be Chinese and fucking just a couple of big wigs from our country who like top engineers and stuff. There's going to be nobody getting employed. So there was that. I mean, you can Google it all up and see what. I mean, I've not seen anything about it for the last couple of years. It might have been binned eventually, but who knows? But when I saw this happen, I had a laugh because I just thought, well, I know exactly who's going to go bonkers on this. But these are the same people who who don't talk about anything that's going on in the UK, which I just think, well, it's always America, isn't it? You live in fucking UK, but you don't mention the fucking shit state our country's in. you just go on about fucking Trump. You have got the Trump derangement syndrome. You know what I mean? There's many things I don't like about fucking people around the world. Trump does things that I just think, fuck me, that's fucking bonkers. But he was voted in by people, and all I see on fucking the internet is this is what I voted for. You know what I mean? Whether they're all bots, I mean, obviously, only bots vote for Trump. Everybody who votes for fucking Biden was not a bot and they weren't dead. You know what I mean? If you believe one thing 100%, you're a fool. But it seems that only one side believes 100% of one thing. So I watched all this unfold, and I thought, I can understand why he's doing it. I didn't know that terminology that you said, Flint, reference. You protect your
the Monroe Doctrine.
That's it, the Monroe Doctrine. So I didn't know that.
Although they're changing it to the Donroe Doctrine.
I was expecting something. So I understand that. And if you don't think of the
listen, you know what it's like. You know what it's like. You know, I'll compare it to Britain and Ireland, right?
Yeah.
The French were fuckers. They're always attacking. They were always trying to attack the UK, right? So what they would do is they'd make a deal with the Irish, and they go like there was a French armada that was shipwrecked off the coast of Ireland, the southwest coast of Ireland, because the Irish did a deal with the French to go around the back and hit Britain from the other side, right? Now, if you're Britain, what do? You go, well, fuck, Ireland are a bunch of fucking troublemakers. They're making deals with our enemies. So what you do is you go over and you conquer the country and you fortify it.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's your sphere of influence. You can't have a rogue nation right next to you plotting your downfall. So or even around, like, you know, not even around you, just like because Ireland's, you know, it's an island, right? But they're still doing enough damage by letting they're doing deals with the French. So that's what you do, and I've no problem with Britain doing that. You got to take care of your own interests. Yeah. And it's the same with the Russians. The reason Putin went in on Ukraine is because Ukraine was threatening to join NATO. And I mean, after the fall of the Berlin Wall, Russians were given a guarantee that all the countries around them wouldn't join NATO because it'll be encroaching on it. Yeah. There was no NATO should not exist. NATO was created to push back against the Soviet Union, and even the Soviet Union had their own version of NATO. I can't remember what it was called now. They had their own version, and when the Berlin Wall fell, they scrapped it. And so NATO should have been scrapped after the fall of the Berlin Wall, and they didn't do it after the fall of the Soviet Union, and they didn't do it. They didn't scrap NATO because it was a money-making deal, selling all these arms to different nations. So and then NATO started encroaching on Russia. You look at the countries that surround Russia. I think there's 4 or 5 of them now that are NATO countries right on Russia's border. So when Ukraine said, "Oh well, we're gonna, you know, become NATO and blah blah blah," or they start suppressing the Russian population on the East Coast, Putin went, "Fuck this! Enough is enough." That's one of the reasons he went in on Georgia, because Georgia had a pro-European government, and Putin went, "Not on my doorstep, you're not." So every big country like that takes care of its own needs. Like they take care of their own, what's in their own area, and that's why part of the reason Trump did what he did. It's the Monroe Doctrine. It's back, baby.
And the thing is, I've watched loads and loads of clips reference Venezuela, and it's strange that all the people are cheering. You know, and I watched the clips where the troops were fucking running over people in APCs under orders of the fucking president, and there was nothing said by the usual people on my list that whinge about Trump. They didn't mention these people being killed or dissidents disappearing. You know, it's all this sort of stuff. But now that Trump's done this, they've all come out, and I'm like, and I keep saying, you don't mention anything about the UK and how shit we are in, the shit state our country's in. It's like you're all fucking bonkers.
Yeah, well, it goes back to what I said. You can control what you do, and you can have some kind of say about what immediately is around you, and you can do things or not do things to make, you know, your house, your street, your city better. You have a lot more say and control over that, and you know, maybe it'll have an outward effect, maybe it won't. There's no guarantees, but the odds of making your life much better by starting from the inside out is much better than trying to protest Trump and all the other things on the
Well,
from the
there
top
are a
down.
lot of there are a lot of Venezuelans that are going to return home now that Maduro's been ousted, and there are a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's just going to be another Iraq or another Afghanistan situation. It'll turn to shit." No, because this administration is too smart for that. They don't have career politicians in charge. This
Right.
administration is a lot smarter than that. They know that it's like when Alexander the Great. When Alexander the Great would go conquer a country, he'd leave the people in charge. He said, "Look, I'm going to keep you guys in here. You're going to do what I say, and you're going to give me 10% of whatever." 10% of your wealth each year. That's it. But you're going to stay in charge and you're going to run things. And that's the mistake they made in Iraq and Afghanistan. When they went in, they got rid of the ruling party, got rid of them all, and there was a huge vacuum. You're not going to have the same thing with Venezuela, because the group that Trump surrounds himself with are smarter than that. They're not civil servants. So,
well, as long as the people don't have anything to complain about, they'll probably, that system could probably work. So, and now that
I can see the U.S. I can see the U.S.
listeners.
I can see. Well, we lost them a long time ago. I can see the U.S. Probably run the country for a couple of months, and then there'll be a new government in place, and then there'll be new elections. But a person being elected will be pro U.S. But you can't allow the same situation. You can't allow a situation where you have another dictator take place, or somebody else who's compromised by the cartels to take place, take that spot. So,
yeah.
And one of the good things about them getting rid of Maduro is all the human trafficking. Venezuela was notorious for human trafficking as well, so that'll put an end to that.
Or will it?
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, but I'm pretty optimistic. I'm always a glass half full guy, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, you won't. There's again, like the Izzy's World guy. There's so much going on. You can't say within the first 24 hours, oh, this is going to happen, and it's you
won't know until things settle a bit.
Right. There are too many things going on, too many things involved. So as far as I'm concerned, it's like, okay, that's something that happened this weekend. It also rained.
Yeah, it rains a lot in your place.
Now it does.
Because when I go on my phone, right, and I go into my little bit of weather thing, and it says, "Oh, mates, and currently it's this temperature, and the percentage of rain is, well, let's have a look, 2%." And then I go along, and the next one comes up as a ravine, and it says, 9 o'clock in the morning, it'll be 12 degrees, 1,500 hours, 20 degrees, no fucking chance of rain at all, 0%. Go into Lavine, someone, keep going. Los Angeles. Oh, your rain stopped. You've just got cloud, it says at the moment.
Yeah, I got it. When we're done recording, I'm going to run over to Vaughn's and get some groceries.
Yeah. And
well, this is the
17 degrees by 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
I'm going to go get some expensive groceries because nobody's doing anything about that shit like they promised. But okay.
Well, you live in California, Rossy. Prices have gone down actually here in Arizona.
Maybe
so you can blame your governor for that.
Oh yeah, I can thank him for a lot of things. Thank him with 5 of these.
The weird thing about Levine, John, and Arizona at this time of the year is that in the morning you're cold. And when you go outside around noon or 1 o'clock, you're hot, you're roasting, you have to take off whatever sweater you have. And then later on around 7 or 8 o'clock, you're cold again. So the weather's a bit weird.
Yeah. I think the lowest it's getting on for you is 10 degrees, it says on here.
Yeah.
We've got, come on, move across. Tonight we might have -4 again. Nice.
You'll be able to shorts.
Yeah.
7 o'clock tonight, it'll be -1. Until it gets to tomorrow at 11, it'll be 0.
They're just going to show up shirtless, and you'll have one of those little portable fans blowing on you.
T-shirt and shorts, whether it's always T-shirt and shorts in the southeast.
Yeah.
Well, let's do Kickstarter corner.
Okay.
So Thugs is completely finished now. It's all done out, done, dusted, and everything's been fulfilled. The commission sketch cards all sent out, and Caretakers and Candy Nasty Tales should be available in February. I'm going to promote it in the next week or so. I should be finished up the drawing of it today, and the coloring and everything else. It'll take me probably 2 or 3 days. Do the front cover, inside front cover, back cover, whatever, and get it out there. So that should be done and dusted by the end of this week. So I'll get that out on Kickstarter probably in February.
Mm-hmm.
That's that, and I'm still waiting on that Eduardo Rizzo book from Alien Books that I pledged for on Kickstarter, and that'll be probably March. That's the only Kickstarter stuff I have. I don't have anything else. Do you have anything, Rossy?
Not really. Like this, I got the digital copy of Uncle Pat's. Not the first thing that he did with them, but like that second Hell thing that he did with them.
Hellbreaker.
Yeah. So I got that, and no word on any of the movie. Let's see. There's the Alien Horde. No word on that. That Amazon woman thing, comically, no word on that. Ben Dunn's got like, I don't want to make this sound negative, but I think he's got like more than one account he uses for Kickstarter, because you can't solicit one until you can't.
I was thinking of doing that too.
Getting the second one so you can have them overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing that, but I think the Crimson Nun one ended, and blah blah blah. Nobody cares. He's my friend. None of you guys care. And I think I heard that yours all sent out. So that I didn't. I just did the book part of it. The shipping part is somebody else, and he told me that it's out there. So, which means your comps are on the way, or your comps are on the way to me, and then I promise within a week I'll get them off to you. So there you go. I think that's it.
All right. Well, movies and TV. I'll go first, because it's on my mind, and then we'll go to John. I watched the finale of Stranger Things, the last season, and man, what a clusterfuck! I don't think I've seen the end of a series that can match Breaking Bad. Just that this long form television stuff that they do, the endings always seem kind of lame. Even Yellowstone, I was apprehensive at the end of that because they lost everything. In Yellowstone, they lose the land. So it's like, well, that's a bummer of an ending. Well, they go back to the Native American. No, they lost the land. The family lost it. So when you watch 1923 with Harrison Ford and Helen Mirren's, like, it's pointless. What's the point? They're going to lose the land anyways in 80 years or whatever. So I don't think there's ever been a good ending to a series as there was for Breaking Bad. And
the thing about Yellowstone, wait. The thing about Yellowstone though was most of those people were murderous pieces of shit. And if they weren't murderous, they were still pieces of shit. And there was like only two characters that were like kind of sort of okay, like the blonde woman's husband. But even he was complicit with the murderous piece of shit part of like the rest of the family. So it's kind of like
so hard. They fought so hard to try and save Yellowstone. They end up losing it. It's just kind of like,
yeah, but they were murderous pieces of shit that kind of deserved to lose it because they were murderous pieces.
Yeah,
of
but
shit.
Harrison Ford wasn't.
No, which goes to show you, like, okay, now it's over, so hand it over, give it it's the ending nobody can really complain about, though, because they gave it back to the Native Americans. It sounds,
right.
whether
I can
you agree
complain
with it
about
or
it.
not. Well, yeah, but whether you really do agree with it or not, it's kind of like you can't complain about that. So
Right.
anyway, go ahead.
But Stranger Things is the end was self-indulgent. There was lots of dragged out scenes for something that's supposed to be the end of the world, where they're talking about their feelings towards each other, crying every fucking 5 minutes, and then there's a flashback every 5 minutes of the whole series. It's basically what James Gunn did with Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3, where he did all this, like, the ending was like dragged out for 20 minutes.
Oh my god!
But with Stranger Things, the ending is dragged out by an hour. I mean, if I was editing that show, that 2 hour finale would just be 1 hour or less. There was stuff that didn't make any sense whatsoever, and they broke their own rules. The Demogorgons were they're supposed to live in this upside down world where the Mind Flayer lives, and they're not around at all. You don't see them. You see 3 of them attack the kids in the first hour, and then they go to the place, the alternate reality where the Mind Flayer lives. Do you actually see the Mind Flayer, right? And the Demogorgons are no longer around. It's like there was only 6 of them. Like, that's kind of lame. You think there'd be a whole army of them, right? So there was that, and then Linda Hamilton's character was the most pointless fucking character in the whole series, because she's military. She gets the kids and everything else at the end, like in an hour into the show, and then the show cuts to 18 months later. They're all back in school and they're graduating. Like, what the fuck happened to Linda? What did she not question them? Did she not? What? Where did she go? I mean, there was no ending for her character. There's no. Well, she's such a bitch, and yet. Why aren't they being interrogated? Why they just cuts to 18 months later and they're graduating, and Hopper's got his job back as a sheriff, and it's like they never mention her again. It's like
MKL
the whole military,
so they forgot.
Yeah, the whole military part,
personality.
The whole military aspect is completely gone. It's like, what the hell, right? It just, and then all the way through the seasons, you're told at 11, she goes into that dark world, everything goes pitch black, and she's walking in water, John.
Arnie, what's the first season?
Yeah, when she goes into the tank, she has to go into the tank in order to transport herself into the id or whatever, the black area, and she can only do that when she's in the tank, right? She does that at the end of the show. Without a tank being involved, a tank of water being submersed in anything, and that made no sense. It's like they did it so it's like, oh, we're going to break the rules here, so she can say a proper goodbye to.
Did you lose him, John?
I can't hear him.
Yeah, the finale. I cut out there for a bit. The finale was so bad.
You went into the tank.
Yeah, the finale was so bad. I mean, it was just such a waste of time. It's so self-indulgent. It disappeared up its own arse. And the Duffer Brothers, I hope they don't get another job anywhere.
Well,
it was that bad.
They may have been spoken to by the Netflix brass. You never know. They might have had something better planned. That I'm convinced, like when Hunger Games came out, the first book, like nobody expected the first book to be as big as it was. And the second book wasn't too bad either, but that third book, it feels like the author was dragged into a dark room somewhere and told, like, we can't have teenage girls questioning social media and and how you're perceived online by the public and all these other themes and paranoia things that they were sticking into the story. She stuck into the story. It's like, you got to make it about which boy she's going to again end up with, and surround them with a cast of characters that can just be picked off one by one. and you can't have her kill the main bad guy. She's got to do it like, well, when she's sort of like semi-conscious and not really knowing what's going on, kind of accidentally kill him. So you can't make her look like a murderer, and all these like bullshit things, because the author that wrote that first book is not the same author that wrote the last book. And I suspect that when something gets big, some of these creators get told.
Well, the thing with Stranger Things, it was supposed to be only one when they did it originally for Netflix. It was only supposed to be one season, one and done, standalone.
Yeah,
but then it got really popular. It got really popular, so they decided to do a whole series.
Yeah, I mean, well, part of the reason that they canceled Warrior Nun is that there was sort of a weird Netflix rule where like most of the shows, even the popular ones, didn't go past 2 or 3 seasons because they always wanted to have something new coming out, and they didn't want it choked up with something that's been lasted 8 years and chugging along on Steam. So it's
I mean, they made a
big
in Stranger Things. They made a big deal of Will coming out of the closet, right? The whole like drawn out, dragged out scene. I'm like, dude, they have a lesbian there that they didn't do that trouble with. They didn't do a scene like that with. There's actually a lesbian character that came out and said she's lesbian, and it was just no big deal. Move on. But with Will, they made a whole big issue. Like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was, well, apparently like the difference is like, okay, we've got this lesbian, and then they used it as a way to, I hate using gaslight, but it was kind of like the Will coming out as gay thing was what gave him the ability to defeat the bad guys. And that's
Rossy, it's obvious you haven't watched it.
Yeah, I know.
Because what you're saying doesn't make any sense when you see the show.
I'm saying that this is what
they didn't do it to defeat the bad guy.
Well, wasn't it what gave him not having that secret anymore was like what gave him the mojo to defeat the bad guy? Yes.
Yeah, but he didn't defeat the bad guy.
Okay, or to fight the bad guy, or
to help fight the bad guy, but he didn't.
Okay,
but he wasn't solely the person that defeated the bad guy.
Yeah. So no, I admit I didn't watch it. This is what my influencers were saying in their reviews of it, and so people. They were most of them were trying to explain like why we didn't like it, and it wasn't because he was gay, because it was like implied that he was been gay from the beginning, and they all got that, and they all understood that, and they all knew that there was another lesbian character who was a lesbian.
Yep.
Then that was like who she was, and they were fine with it. They accepted it. It's like, sure. Even though it was the 80s and it probably wouldn't have been as like out there as it was. It's set in the 80s, but it's 80s by way of 2025 or whatever. Fine, whatever. But it was just the way that was handled, and it's this long drawn out scene, and the way everyone reacted, and it was kind of like, and this is how he gets his superpower, and it's like, okay, that's kind of dumb. And also, that being squarely in the middle of a final season, and they were kind of likening it to the way Game of Thrones went to hell for its last season too. And it sure does, like you said, it sure does seem like a lot of these streaming shows where it's like one mega plot that you get to that last season where they have to wrap it up, and it's like, I mean, it's already getting a little stale by the time they get to the last season, and then like nobody cares, and then the whole series goes to hell because you don't have, except for Breaking Bad, you don't have this like one package of awesomeness.
Well, Better Call Saul ended pretty good too.
Yeah, well, it's same guy, right? Same crew. Yeah. Is it the same? So is it the same people who are doing Fallout?
No, Fallout's different people.
Because well, there was one. The other one that was like, holy hell, that went to shit fast was Westworld, because that started out.
Oh yeah, season the minute season 2 started, the first episode went to shit.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I don't like. I really don't like to get involved with these TV shows. even though it's streaming, hour-long dramas or whatever you want to call them. I don't, and because you get invested in it, and then it's like you kind of know in the back of your head there's a better than 50% chance this is going to go to hell. So
not with Breaking Bad though.
Yeah, I know. I'll say all the words.
Yeah, the thing with Westworld, I watched the first season was excellent. Great little twist in it. And then the second season, the first 2 or 3 episodes, I'm like, oh, that's it, I'm out.
Right.
So I was done. Another show that I watched. Oh, yeah, Fallout was pretty good. You watched all 3 episodes of Fallout, John, right?
Yeah, I'm up to date on that.
Did you like the flea soup?
Yes.
That has potential to be a great show, but like you said, Rossy, it all depends on how it ends.
Well, I have some thoughts. So is that all? What else have you seen, John?
Let me look at my thing. I've only seen a couple of things apart from all the Christmas specials and stuff. I was just enjoying that. Apparently, Nicki Minaj, there's a campaign to get her booted out of America because she supports Donald Trump. But anyway, let me go on my stuff. Here we go.
They should let her run Venezuela then.
That's it. Well, I'm up to date on the Landman, the latest season of Landman. It's really enjoyable stuff. Bonkers with some of the characters, but I'm enjoying.
It's enjoyable, but what the fuck is the plot?
Well, that's it. Well,
it's the characters go. We've done funny stuff with the wife and their daughter, and then
that doesn't end.
Melodrama with the son and the Mexican girl, and then.
Well, it's all going to boil down to is the drug person being involved in the business. That's where it's all going to be.
Oh yeah, that's the plot, so to speak.
It. So I'm enjoying that. But my favorite thing I watched this week or last week was it was in the documentaries, Strange Journey, the story of Rocky Horror.
I saw that too.
Starring Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, rhymes with abandon. She said that herself. Richard O'Brien, Barry Bostwick, Patricia Quinn, Nell Campbell, Peter Hinwood, who apparently
this is just let the listeners know this is a gay part of the show, so I'll probably zone out for 10 minutes.
That's right.
Gay. Well, Peter Hinwood getting Peter Hinwood to talk about it is fucking huge.
He runs antique shop. Anyway, so we'd seen this was coming on DVDs and stuff like that, and then suddenly it popped up on my when I do the look through the TV guide, and I'm like, bloody hell! Recorded it, me and Carolyn watched it. It was excellent. One of my favorite documentaries. It just could have been longer. Interesting to see, lovely to see the characters all talking with fondness of the show, of the film. Obviously, I got a lot of
Tim Curry didn't want to talk about it for a long ass time. He was like, "I am not Spock of the Rocky Horror Picture Show."
Didn't want to talk about it because she didn't get residuals from the DVD sales or something. But I got them books at Christmas, and it's fantastic. There's tons of information in there, so it was really nice to have this at the same period to enjoy it on the screen. But basic outline was. Everyone apart from Susan Sarandon and Barry Bostwick were in the stage show. That was getting made into a film. Richard O'Brien said, I want all these people from the stage show in it. The people who were the money men said, well, we're not prepared to give you this much money, we'll give you this much. But if you get some Americans in, we'll give you this much. So then he decided to choose Susan Sarandon and Barry Bostwick for the American roles. And away they went.
What happened to the original people that played those roles on the stage? Were they put in somewhere else in the movie?
They were just killed.
Yeah, they were told, "Fuck off, please."
That was very nice of Richard O'Brien, wasn't it?
Well, you got to get things made.
So
Richard O'Brien, put him in the cast.
Nah, well, they probably were in the background. His wife was in at the time because we met his ex-wife when we were at the Hard Rock Cafe with Samuel. And she took a really funny shine. Well, not funny. She took a shine to Samuel and took him off on a tour around the store, the restaurant and the store and everything. And then she, when well, I can say this now. I doubt she works anymore. She nicked a shot glass for him. And we didn't know.
Wait, this was Kimi Wong?
That's right. And so when we left and we talked to the concierge at the entrance, I said, I've just got to say, the lady who did our table was absolutely amazing. I mean, we give a nice tip. I said, one of my best experiences with a person who's waiting on us, and the person went, well, that's Richard O'Brien's ex-wife. She was in the Rocky Horror. And I went, do you know what? I said all the time at the meal, I've seen her face somewhere, and I'm terrible with faces, but because I've watched the Rocky Horror so many times, it was obviously in my head. And we went, wow. And the concierge, I can't remember if it was a man or a woman, they said, she only works a couple of times a week. Just need to, but she loves the interaction with people. And I could see that with the way she was with Sam and the table. Yeah. And she said, everyone when they leave always says what a fantastic time they've had because of her. But
wow,
I mean, lovely. But she just took a shine at Sam. I think Sam was about 8 or 9 at the time, and she just lovely with him. And so yeah, so watching this documentary was brilliant. Like I said, too short.
They didn't talk to her though.
It showed some behind the scenes shots, which was quite nice to see, which I'd seen popping up recently. And that's why I thought there's something was coming, because I thought, I've never seen this angle. It was basically when Frankenfurter is basically come out the lift and he's starting to walk down the steps and he starts to sort of like sing, and then he does a sideways glance and the camera moves, another camera takes a sideways glance from the main shot. And then we see this shot being filmed by somebody else behind, showing all the crew to the left. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I've not seen this before anywhere. So obviously somebody clipped it off of the documentary and put it on YouTube. So obviously that meant something was coming, because these clips just don't appear all of a sudden for no reason. But yeah, it was interesting to listen to what they said. I knew about them being freezing cold when they were doing the shoot in 6 weeks. It was funny seeing Richard, because it was actually filmed by Richard O'Brien's son. And
he was also bald.
Yes, it starts off in New Zealand. And there's a statue of Richard O'Brien in his like science fiction outfit from the end of the film with his weird little hair.
Yeah, his riffraff spacesuit with the with the garter belts.
That's right. So there's a statue in New Zealand where he was at, and this woman was walking down the street, and she went, "Oh, blah 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 blah. Oh yeah, that's the Rocky Horror House." And he went, "Yeah, I know." But yeah, then it was shown the footage of where it was filmed, that place we're going to go to this year, and you'll see me do some singing. Awesome. I'm going to memorize those lyrics, which I have anyway, because we watched the film this week as well. It was on the TV, so we watched it, and I was basically singing. I'd say about 95% of the words I got spot on. I'm sure it wound Carolyn up because I was singing in such a loud voice, putting these weird voices on, sort of thing.
Well, can you do the audience participation thing as well?
I can when it's all in. When it's playing, I can, but okay. I wouldn't be able to do it off my head now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, so he was showing all these bits. He was going into the building, and I watched a little bit later on YouTube where he actually. It was, I think, about 8 minutes or 9 minutes where he was actually back at that place, which is now a hotel. And he said it was run down when they were there. It was like basically derelict. And he said, we did this, that, and the other. We put this in, we did that, all these sort of things. Then he said, somebody's come along and made it as it is now. He says, no, people complain and say they changed something inside or whatever. He said, but they've invested a lot of money and look at it, it's beautiful. And they let him just walk around with his guitar singing in the hallways and on the stairs and all sorts of stuff. But if you do like Rocky Horror, it's definitely worth a watch. And if you like documentaries, which has basically everyone from the cast who's still alive talking about it with such fondness, obviously other things have happened in the past. Like say Susan Sarandon wasn't happy with the money and all that, but that's nothing to do with actually making the film. But they said they did.
The studio screwing them over.
Well, that's what you expect of the studio. But you could see why they chose her, because she had that innocent look with those wide eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, well, in the end, it saved me buying it because I was preparing to buy that.
Yeah, well, you can't get it here yet, so.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean,
but I have ways. So
and the character Peter Hinwood, who was Rocky Horror, what was interesting about that was he was extremely embarrassed to be basically semi-naked all the time in the thing because he was new to the whole acting scene. And when you watch the actual film later on and you see Susan Sarandon grabbing his hands and put them on her breasts and all that, making him fondler, it's quite funny because I'm watching his eyes all the time to see this sort of like, you can see that slight tiny bit of embarrassment in there. I mean, it's obviously part of the character because he's new to the world.
I wouldn't be embarrassed about that.
Yeah,
no, I wouldn't.
But it was pretty real. I don't think he was that good of an actor.
No.
Yeah.
And they talk about Meatloaf. His audition was basically nobody could sing the Hot Patootie on the stage show without messing up, and he just went, all right then, and he sung it in one go and he banged it out perfectly. And Richard O'Brien was like, yeah, you got the part then. It was things like that. So without going into all the details, I highly recommend it. I mean, it's probably one of the best things I watched all last year because it was just out before Christmas. Definitely worth a watch. So I think because I've got them books, I'm thoroughly enjoying the books, reading them now. So I've got all those stories in my head as well. So when I get to a story where they elaborate on it, it'll be even better.
I think Richard O'Brien's one of those guys who became a much nicer person later in life. Because if you look at the interviews,
of course he did, because he didn't put the two people that got sacked into the movie.
I'll see if that's.
They just didn't.
I'm sure that'll be mentioned in the book. So when I eventually get to it, I'll write the names down.
Yeah.
But it was interesting because it showed the cinema showings. Well, it was a flop. Then it showed the cinema goings and how like American cinemas were showing it at midnight. Then they were showing it again at 2 on the weekends in the morning, and the crowds were just coming in. And then the audience participation happened. Then they had a thing which I didn't know about, which was the shadow actors.
Shadow cast,
The shadow cast, where they would all come out dressed up. This is the initial bit where they'd all come out and reenact what was happening on screen underneath the screen in the cinema. So the audience were all dressed up anyway, because I've been to one of these in London, which was brilliant. I thought we're definitely going to take Sam when there's another one, but Richard O'Brien only lets it get done once every so often. So I think only once high school has been allowed to do it once. That's when all the children begged him, but it's hardly ever done. So if you get a chance,
did he rewrite it? Is it an edited version of it, or like?
No. I think that's probably why he doesn't normally let them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get like a lot of people saying it helped them with their youth and all that because of I think they listed them off in the thing. He said, well, it helps people who were different by being bisexual, lesbian, gay, all that. He said, look, all these people have a place in the film, so they're all happy, and it just means people can relax. So they interviewed a few people, referenced that. Jack Black was quite funny when he was talking about it. But yeah, so I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then, like I say, it was just Christmas editions of this, that, and the other. I mean, I've just started watching. I'll probably only watch one episode. I watched 10 minutes of it this morning before I went to bed because I sort of went to bed about 10ish. The world's most expensive flights. And it starts off with this in Park Lane in London. One of the hotels, it might be the Park Lane Hotel, at the bottom when you drive past, there's an airplane fuselage you can see inside about 3 or 4 of the windows. And it's the only shop in the world where you can buy an airplane. And he says he does 5% of his business in the UK, 95% around the world. And then we follow this bloke for these first few minutes. And I'm like, do you know what? I might go there. Because he says, we get people just walking off the street and they'll spend 150 million sort of thing. So we got planes for like 20 million, this and the other. Like if you're on a small jet, but then people want to get a bigger jet so they go further distances and want to hit. But the biggest small jet can hit LA, and it can hit most of the world in one stop extra. I presume that means New Zealand and the very East Australia. You're not going to hit in, you need 2 stops. But he had this massive screen inside the showroom shop that he has, and all the desks for the staff are all set out like cockpits. The design, the layout. But there's this wall, and he just projects all the planes that are available on the wall. It's all like TV screen stuff. Probably about fucking 10 times, 20 times the size of your TV, Flint. And he has like 100 planes on it, which are all currently for sale. So people can then touch it. It brings up that plane, shows the dimensions, shows the layouts, what you can spend your money on. But he also had this very clever, this was. He went, right, this is an average size private jet. And it had the outline, the internal outline of the cabin. So you could stand against this thing and see where, if you'd have to duck or anything. So he was 6 foot tall.
Oh, wow.
You didn't have to duck on anything. So it was there was the smallest private jet, like not like prop planed, it was jet engined. Then it was the luxury private jet, like the slightly bigger. Then it was when you go up to getting a sort of a jumbo jet, not the massive size, but you're getting there, you know what I mean, 100-seater stuff. That size. Then there was a bigger one where, and he was stood next to it, and I'm going, God, this is clever stuff, isn't it? Where he's just standing, there's the outline in different colours as well, so it was all easy on the eye. And then he has these people turn up who they're going to fly off to Paris for the afternoon for a lunch. One's big in the world. I did laugh. They both look like twats for a start. One was big in the world of cognac, and the other was big in the world of fucking what you call it, the sturgeon fish eggs, caviar. And off they went to Paris the afternoon in a private jet. And then he tells you, so if you have this private jet, it'll cost you per hour of flight 13,000. If you have this private jet, it was a little bit less. All these sort of calculations. So I thought, right, I'll wait the first break, I'll stop it, get me sleep, and I'll watch the rest later, because it's going to be fucking bonkers. And I might watch the whole series. The ship ones, I've watched a couple of them before, but you get used to the same old thing. But with jets, I've not seen one of these ones before, so it'll be interesting to see what people are buying. So when I am mega rich, I'll be able to have one.
Well, Bill Clinton showed up and said, "I'd like to buy the Lolita Express."
They did. But you see, you can hire jets as a group of people. So if you wanted to go over to America, there's a firm that, if they have to get one of their jets over there for one of their clients to come back, you can get a really good deal to go across there. But obviously, you're gonna make your own way back. It's all this sort of stuff. You know, when these people do well, I don't know if they do it now, but they used to take important documents around the world, couriers. They would get a free flight to take just a fucking couple of like files over to New York, say. They'd go and deliver it in person, not to the desk, in person to the fucking desk that's in front of the main man's office. You know what I mean? It had to be signed for, so you couldn't leave it at the downstairs of the hotel, not the hotel, the office block lobby. It had to be with his secretary, sort of thing, at the very least. Right. But then you make your own way back. But then what you could do then is you can get in touch with the company and say, look, have you got anything going to Hong Kong from here? And they might say, yeah, we have 2 days' time. Then you just hang around in New York for 2 days, get the next flight to there. Now, that's a single man's dream, you know what I mean? Just traveling around. Yeah. But that was the sort of thing you could do. And I don't know if it's still available now, because, like I say, everything's fucking digital. But a lot of times you need that physical thing signed. So you need to have the physical thing there, don't you? But yeah.
It sounds like the job for me, man, because then I never have to learn how to drive. You just hop in a cab or a Uber and go from city to city.
Yeah. Well, you got them in the UK. You probably got them in America as well. But in London, they've got like these motorbike ones as well. So they give you like the leather jacket to put on, helmet, and then you fucking get on the back of the bike and off he goes.
Yeah, but that's for ghetto people. I want to
Oh,
I
you
want
want
to deliver to the rich and powerful, and
Ah,
go to the skyscrapers and everything.
yes.
Yeah, nice.
So there.
So I had Fallout. I watched Fallout, and I have some thoughts. But first, I would like to, since we don't have a prog still to review yet, I'm gonna bring this everything back to 2000 AD for two things. So, 2000 AD likes to claim that they predicted pretty much everything that comes true in the future. Like, oh, we predicted riot foam, we predicted mass surveillance, blah blah. We're now living. The comic's 50 years old, and now for the most part, we're pretty much living in that world. And one of the things that they never ever talk about is
All the things they get wrong.
Well, well, I mean, one of the big things that you would think that they would be like crowing off the rooftops for is in that second Zombo story, they predicted that Donald Trump would be president of the United States.
Yeah, they're very quiet about that, aren't
they? You would think that they would reprint that like crazy and say like, look what we predicted. Which sometimes I wonder if it's the Grant Morrison, like, oh, I wrote something down and it manifested in reality because they're magic sigils and blah blah blah. You write it down and they're like runes and it makes it real. Blah blah blah. That occult stuff that he's always on about. So I wonder if Al Ewing's got a little bit of that in him, where he's like, oh, Al Ewing.
All right, go ahead.
He's related to J.R. Ewing. Yeah, I guess. So anyway, I wonder if he kind of buys into that a little bit, and that's what part of why they never ever. It's like, oh man, I wrote Donald Trump as president of the United States, and that's part of what made it come true. Blah 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 blah. So they never talk about that, even though I think it's huge. I can't think of any other comic book or piece of media that predicted that, of all people. And they played up I mean, granted, it was just like a play up of The Apprentice, of like, you're fired shit. So I wonder if they're going to talk about the story where Judge Dredd goes to a South American country and does regime change by taking out the dictator robot. Somehow I think that won't ever get conflated or talked about, or we'll have to. And I'm not going to watch the Fwilcast to see if that gets mentioned ever. So that was one thing, and the other thing is, Fallout is the tale of the dead man, even down to the fucking ghoul looking just like Dredd does in that comic book. But there's a huge difference, and I now with season 2 of Fallout, granted I was proofreading a comic while I was half listening and watching the show, which is what you're supposed to do with streaming. So I kind of didn't pay that much attention to the first 2 episodes, but I did watch the third one. And there's something about the messaging in Fallout that I really can't fucking stand. And I'm kind of still working my way through it. But since it's basically the Cursed Earth TV show, I'm comparing it to Judge Dredd, not necessarily the Dead Man story, because I don't remember all the details from that well. But because Fallout's a streaming show and they've got a limited cast, and it's like we were talking about Yellowstone, they cut back and forth between a half dozen things going on at the same time and different characters in different places, but it all kind of conflates into this hellscape that it is now. And there's a lot of really gory, violent things that are kind of played for laughs, and I understand why it's funny, but in the bigger context of the show, it like, honestly, there isn't a bad special effect, there isn't a bad performance, it's well written, the world building and the lore, I don't know how much of it's based on the video game, but it seems to be, airtight the way they're putting it together and telling the story. So on a technical level, it's efficient as hell. And on that level, I got to call it a good to great show. But there's something about the messaging in the background that's driving me nuts, and it's so depressing. Because we had just finished watching, I rewatched Mad Max Fury Road, and that thing is freaking awesome. I appreciate it more now than I did when I first saw it when it came out. It's only been what, 10 years or something like that, and they just do not make movies like that anymore, and I wonder if they ever will. But there's something, and I think so, like with Judge Dredd, because it's only limited to the imagination of the writer and the technical skill of the artist. And apparently some of those artists in the early days were without bounds. But Judge Dredd's based on the idea that the world went to shit by one guy going bonkers. If you go by the original premise of the series, like the early years before they put all the conspiracy stuff on it, before Origins, before they started to muddy the waters and trying to make it, like what Fallout is already now. But the original premise was the world went to shit because the president of the United States went nuts. And then Judge Fargo stepped in, and he was this pure, incorruptible. According to the early days, we as children were meant to believe that he was pure and incorruptible, and he was the architect of this book of law that was meant to protect people and keep order. And then Judge Dredd was genetically manipulated from him to be the ultimate judge and the ultimate tool to enforce this infallible system of law and order that was created. And so when he says, "I am the law," it means he is the ultimate symbol of justice. And even though the system wasn't perfect, whenever somebody would step out of line, it usually ended with a catastrophe that Judge Dredd and the judges had to clean up. And that was like the premise for the golden age years of Judge Dredd. There was a lot of room for satire and argument of how good and bad this fascist system was. That was up until like the America stories and Origins and all the things where the cracks started to show. And as kids, we bought into that kids, me being a teenager, bought into that like 100%. So, and then there was just like crazy villain of the week and crazy situation of the week and all these things. But with Fallout, it's like this fucked up, corrupt system with a lot of people involved made humanity go to hell. And then now it's just even the ghoul who, he's straight up presented as not a good guy, and slowly little cracks are starting to show that maybe he's not as bad a guy as you were meant to believe. It's kind of like working backwards from that, what I described in Judge Dredd, where it's like absolutely awful and there's no good outcome for anybody. And because you have to keep the cast intact for the most part till somebody wants to leave or until they want to fire somebody. People do awful, horrible things with not a lot of retribution or result. Nothing that bad ever happens to them. They're able to go on to another day to do more things, and it's just kind of like this endless circle of something terrible happens to somebody. They kind of sort of
do you have a point?
No, because I'm trying to work it out. I'm trying to work it out in my head why this show bugs the living fuck out of me, because it's so similar to something I liked when I was a teenager that has slowly gotten worse. And this one starts off really, really good technically, but the engine behind it, the stories that it's telling, are god fucking awful as far as what the messaging is. So I guess that's the point I'm trying to make.
All right.
That's it.
Excellent.
All right. So we weren't going to do. Well, we can't. There's no issue 2000 out this week, so we were going to do a review of BLAZER.
Pew, pew, Barney McGrew, Cuthbert, Dibble, Grub.
Annual.
So the BLAZER annual.
Mm-hmm.
So you got your BLAZER annual handy?
Yeah.
I'm firing up the old iPad right now.
All right. So we have Pedro Pascal on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
Who's that cover done by? Ian Stopford?
No. Oh, yeah, you got that one, haven't you? I've got the other one. I've got the
Dan Cornwell.
Yeah.
That's a great cover too.
I just preferred that. I went for this one primarily because it's more, to me, action packed and what I would see if I was going to the shop at Christmas to get something like this.
What do you think of the cover, Rossy?
Well, I think the painted cover feels like more of an annual from 1976. And it's funny because you got Pedro Pascal coming at you, and the kid's like really happy, even though the thing's exploding in the background. Or Son, or whatever that character's name is. Yeah, he's really happy with the explosions and mayhem going on behind him. So there's not to spoil or jump too far ahead, but there's a page that says like who should play what's the name of Derringer? Is that the character's name? Who should play him? And they go through the actors who were popular on TV at the time. But there's no question, based on this image, that it would be Pedro Pascal if they made the movie now.
Right. Then we have the contents page, and did you guys read all the Steve Mack stuff?
Let me just go it.
Did you know?
Oh yeah, I read all that.
Kind of fun. That's a real throwback as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely. If you're not in on the joke, I could see how this would be like really weird, but it really, I've seen enough of these old annuals and old comics it's like, it really is what they're trying to make it, a 1976 comic. So,
yeah. All right, Derringer and Colin Maxwell story, art by Ewan Power, and colors and letters by Colin Maxwell.
The pair get involved in sunken treasure, and whilst doing so, run into another one of Rossy's wives once again, who's also after said treasure. Cue some shark action and a bit of jet ski skills. The pair come out on top, and his nemesis and their crew are arrested.
Dun, dun, dun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I do like the art in this one. Although the shark, the angle of the shark, like it straight on and just slightly straight on, it was kind of like should have done a different angle for the second one or something there. But I enjoyed it. Good. It did remind me of a typical story from the 70s, and then you got the sexy lady, which was good.
Yeah, all the details, the logo, the way the story plays out, and the absurdity of it, they absolutely nailed that. It feels like a Mac 1 type story from back in the day.
Yeah. What do you think, John?
I loved it. I would have, on the second page, where the top picture where it says 2 days later, there's a hook there, isn't there? I would have loved if when the shark scene happened, they had that and they whacked it into its jaw, and then it just disappeared. it would have been so fun to not even say it was Hookjaw, just whack it in there and let it go, and then see what people were thought. But yeah, I thought it was a good laugh. Exactly what I was reading at the time. You know, I mean, in the comics I was picking up in the paper shop. Nice colouring as well. I think one of my favourite bits, art-wise, was when they're actually in the bottom of the sea and the light's just shining through. That little bit where he's saying it looks like Jack has found something. It was that sort of like just the visual of the light coming in. But yeah, so like,
there was only one panel that I went, what's going on here? And it was on page 2 of the bottom panel, when he's talking to the woman in the restaurant. There's a shadowy figure in the background, and usually you don't put something like that in there unless it plays a part later on in the comic, in the strip.
Oh,
So that kind of took me out a bit. I'm like, oh, who's that guy? I'm like, oh. But overall, pretty good. And I did love Sun's Mighty Machines.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The SR-71, Blackbird.
All from the 70s.
Yeah.
Their intel's pretty good that they're able to, predict these things that weren't out back then. They're widely known about.
But the thing is, I remember as a kid, you all at school, we all knew the Countach or the Countach, whatever you pronounced it. The Blackbird was known once it sort of got revealed on the news. I think one was shot down or one crashed or something or testing or something. Or did a Matchbox model of it come out before it was actually revealed? I know that's happened with something that was top secret before. Matchbox got images of it somehow and they made the model. And obviously with the Kawasaki, I remember people always kept saying stuff like, "Oh, I wouldn't mind getting a Quacker Thou," and I was, because I'm not into motorbikes, but that was the thing I remember people saying, "Oh yeah, when I got some money, I'll get that." And obviously the Apache, once the old and the Bell Huey Cobra and all that sort of stuff, all the war films I watched. So yeah, everything was perfect for me.
Yeah, that was good stuff. Roxy's Repos, Steve McManus, story art Peter Westland, and letters Peter Westland.
Oh, so this is me. So there's a person at the bar who's hitting on a young lady, and then it's Roxy's Repos shows up, and they repossess the skin that he's wearing, and he's revealed to be kind of an unattractive person. The repossession is shown on the news, and the interviewer is interviewing the guy, and I guess somebody in the newsroom is running away because he's also going to be repossessed. He's wearing a fake look. So back at their apartment, the Roxy's Repos crew, we get to know them a little better. They didn't make any money off that particular repo, so they decide to go off into space and take a job that's a high-paying job off into space.
Yeah, I thought the artwork was pretty nice, but the storytelling was a mess. I thought it was all over the place. Confusing.
Yes.
And the lettering didn't help it either. And the dialogue was just, I just couldn't get into it at all. I thought overall the strip was a mess, but I did like the artwork.
So the only thing that indicates that the person that the first guy is hitting on is part of this Roxy crew is in the first panel. You see her in silhouette, and there's like a little bit of her glasses there, and then it's like later on down towards the bottom, it's like, oh, the cutie girl that he's hitting on is wearing glasses, and then it's the same cutie girl on the crew that's wearing glasses. You kind of have to figure it out. It isn't just like easily, thrown in there. It isn't easily given to you as part of the story.
Right.
And there's other little bits like that too, like when they reveal the guy, what he looks like without his skin suit or whatever. It's like, oh, wait a minute, it's that guy. Okay, so, I just realized something. This anyway, we'll get to it later. Anyway, so it's Steve McManus has kind of a weird sense of humor, which works for him and against him sometimes. And I think he started with like, hey, how about a strip called Roxy's Repros, and they repossess skins, and like the idea is kind of 2000 AD-ish and fun and funny, and the way it gets played out here is just kind of it's his all you can say is like it's his weird, unique sense of humor, and you either like it or you don't. I'm okay with it, but I just don't love it. So does that make sense?
Yeah. What about you, John?
Well, I thought it was too short for a start, especially with the final page just being one big splash. Outway, it was. I liked it in most of it, but some of the imagery, especially on the top of the second page, was a bit sort of like. I think it was spoiled by too much of the speech bubbles and stuff, especially that weird speech bubble, the first one, which is like two speech bubbles, but it's one speech bubble. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The lettering is really strange.
Yeah, but I like the overall idea of it. But like I say, it was just too short.
Yeah, it feels like there was probably more to it, and then they just had to cut it in half because the artist didn't finish it. Or I mean, I don't want to blame the artist, but it feels like for some reason. Well, no. Okay, so it's very easy for me to blame artists. So, but it feels like there was, for some reason, it might have been cut short to make sure it got into the annual at all.
Yeah, that word balloon you're talking about with the three tails on it, what's the one speech balloon? That's a mess. That's a no-no.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was disappointing. All right. Now we have Top Secret. We have Dalton Chips. Story by Christopher Rodriguez, or Rodriguez, whatever he has here.
Yeah.
Art, Andrea Bormeda, and colors, John Charles, and letters, Filippo Recon, isn't it?
It's Filippo, yeah, Filippo Roncon with his
Roncon, yeah.
Just me again?
So I told you all the ones I was doing.
Yeah, well, I only remembered a couple of them. All right, so yeah, this is about regime change in a South American country.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 77, and Blazer predicts the future.
We'll never talk about it again. So our main character, Dalton Chips, he's sort of a James Bondy kind of girl, and he meets his connection in this South American country, and they have very on-the-nose dialogue and very on-the-nose thought balloons to move the story along. He goes to the hotel room where he meets the guy who he's supposed to get out of the country, and then guys kick in the glass window doors, and there's a shootout, and there's an action, and there's a chase, and cars explode, and there's karate kicks and fights on all James Bondy type stuff.
A funicular railway.
Yes. Well, we have one of these called Angel's Flight in LA.
Yeah, there's one down Folkestone that's getting repaired now.
Yeah, so there's a fight in there too, and so Dalton Chips hits the blonde guy in the head with the attaché case, which knocks him out, and they meet the girl connection, and they go all the way to the airport, and then it's revealed that all these guys were just testing Dalton Chips to make sure he was going to be the guy that could be the work there for 6 months and in their service. So
it reminds me of the scene in Dumb and Dumber where I think it's Harry or Lloyd. They say the guy comes in with a gun, Jim Carrey's character comes in with a gun and starts shooting, right? And then no, it's not him. God damn it! I'm butchering this now. It's the bad guy says shoot him, right? And so he shoots Lloyd, I think. And Lloyd says, "Well, what if you had to shot me in the head?" Right? He shoots him in the the bulletproof vest.
Mhm.
And they never thought about what if he shot me in the head. And that's what this reminds you of, where he's coming up against the bad guys, and he's obviously got a loaded gun with real bullets, real rounds in it, and he's
Yeah.
shooting at them. But it's all a big test. What if he shot some of them in the head?
Yeah.
This is well, that's part of the gag. That's the gag, along with the very on the nose dialogue and dot balloons and the it reminded me of, I mean, we've seen this played out before, this like, oh, it was all just a test type of thing.
And then he kicks the guy in the lift out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the guy broke his neck when he hit the ground.
At any point, anybody could have gotten killed over this test, but they play it like, oh, it's okay. That's the joke. It gets stretched. I mean, it goes on for like 5 pages or something like that.
Like the A-Team, nobody gets killed.
Yeah. So on that level, I mean, for what it is, it's pretty funny, you know. I don't know if this character has enough to him to keep it going for another, because honestly, I didn't think Derringer and Son had enough to it to keep it going for as long as it has been going on. And that story in this annual was pretty good. You know, it's like all the others. It's got the same kind of jokes, but hey, it worked once again. I don't know if this character has that in him, but maybe the writer's got some plans, so we'll see.
Did you like it, John?
Well, I thought it was funny. I had the same thing with Hughes at the end, where it's like, oh, hang on a second. The potential of killing or severely injuring these people just to test is a bit much. But I like the artwork. There's a couple of images that I really enjoyed. One way he's putting his pistol in the back of his belt. You don't normally see that apart from what you see in the movie. So it was a nice angle. The kick that everyone, when they've seen a kung fu film, tries to do when they come out of the cinema, but they can't do because they can't put their legs up past sort of like knee height for a sideways kick. I'm on about. And then I did like the overhead shot of them fighting in the vernacular railway. That was quite nice. You don't see that very often, and obviously it tests the artist to get the dimensions and the sort of what you call it when an arm's at the wrong angle and it looks tiny, that sort of stuff. Them sort of visuals correct.
Perspective.
That's it, perspective. So I quite enjoyed it. It was not the best strip, but it was funny. It was
fun. Yeah,
that's the main thing. I want to get to the end of it. I don't want to get to the end of it and go, for fuck's sakes. And I didn't do that with it. I don't think anything in here, which I am getting a lot with 2000 AD. I'm enjoying this exactly what it's supposed to be. We've gone back in time to this period when the comics were there, just pure entertainment and just to escape because we didn't have anything apart from a couple of channels. So you just have this pure escapism for like half an hour a week when you got your comic and sat at home and read it.
Yeah, there was nothing that was really laugh out loud funny, but for the most part, I was smiling knowingly while I was reading it. And then you get to the end, and it was like, "Well, that was clever."
Did you do the boot room boy word search, and did you spot the Epstein Island patron?
No, no.
Uri Geller, he's right in there.
Oh yeah.
I bet he bit some spoons in his time.
Well, the one you see instantly is Colorado Beetle, but I'm surprised near the end of the clues when it has Uri Geller, Wings, and Wombles. The problem with Wombles now is all I ever think of is Cock Womble. Because the amount of times people put that on the web, don't they?
Yeah.
He's a Cock Womble.
Oh, it's a lifesaver. Professor Spector's Wacky Lab. Story Steve McManus. Art Jeremy Dunn. Letters Jeremy Dunn.
Okay, so that must be me again. So this fellow mad scientist has a VHS tape, and he's going to watch the episode of the Sweeney, and it turns out to be this game show called It's a Lifesaver, and they've got a psychic woman who's predicted what's going to happen to this fellow, and they're going to see if he follows through and does it or not. And then I forgot what the punchline was, but they cut back to the scientist
There is no punchline.
Yeah, it was just kind of like the ending of it was a little bit flat, but the main thing is the gag. It's the show about the psychic that are they going to follow through and
Well, he's basically
save his
saying
life?
that he's recorded it, but it seems that his video recorder might be recording shows from the future.
Oh, okay. I read it this morning, but it was so memorable. I barely remember what it was about.
You're getting a lot of bang for your buck because there's about 20 odd things in here, not just little articles and stuff. So you're getting a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so, I think the Blazer annual proves that to me that Steve McManus should stick to editing and not write stuff, because his stuff just isn't good enough for me, or isn't good at all. Or he could be a good ideas man, but that's it.
It's predicated
because I love the artwork, but the story and even the last one he wrote is just like, oh my god.
Well, it's predicated on weird and mostly very original ideas, but they kind of don't really go anywhere. It's kind of like, well, here's an idea, and you go like, wow, that's really strange. I've not seen anything like it before, and it's written in very much the style of the era that he was like the editor, so he knows what that looks and sounds like very, very well. Mm-hmm. And then you go, and then you turn the page, and it's like something else. So it's like, oh, that was it.
Yeah, I love the artwork, but man, I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it's an acquired taste.
Mm. What about you, John? You like the artwork too?
I thought the artwork was fantastic. I loved it. When I see images like on the second page and that face with the big mouth, the smile, I've mentioned it a few times. It always reminds me of when you say when you don't put so many lines in, it makes people look youthful. And then obviously with the mouth, with that just a tiny bit of a line going in either side, makes his teeth glow, sort of thing. You know what I mean? So I sort of see that when you mention these things. And I did love the way the lady was drawn. I do like a sort of a bob cut like that.
Yeah,
so,
very Hershey.
Yes.
Who would play Jack Derringer? I was really surprised they didn't have Burt Reynolds in there, because he was big in the 70s.
He would have been Derringer instantly, Burt Reynolds. I think he was basically the manliest star of the time.
Yeah, but Burt Reynolds was more of a movie star, and this is clearly like based on a TV show from that era, right? And so they're all TV actors.
But it says on the thingy to play an audience cinema near you next year, so you want to get them in the movie. Hey, yeah, did you read all the words?
Yes, I don't remember everything I read. So,
and it says at the end, did you read who won?
Yes.
Turn the page upside down, and here is our winner by several whiskers is Mr. Tom Selleck, which is quite a good one.
Was Tom Selleck big in the 70s? He was an 80s guy, wasn't he?
I think he was.
Okay. Well, here's my chance. Read the words, and he was spotted on some TV show. They said he was like possible candidate whom we saw in a recent episode of the Rockford Files, a young actor, relatively unknown, but with a big future ahead of him. So he was spotted on TV.
No.
What are you about? The James Garner?
It's under where it says it's a wrap. The second paragraph says that he was spotted on the. So apparently Tom Selleck had a bit part on the Rockford Files.
Did he?
Yes. So it's not Magnum. Tom Selleck. It's when he was being considered for Indiana Jones.
Oh, everyone was considered for everything, wasn't they? When you look back and you just think, well, how many of this is just made up?
Yeah.
Okay, the Trash Can Triangles, story by Brandon Wright, art by Robert. I can't make out that name.
Robert
Cripp or Chip?
Cripp.
Robert Cripp. and art by Dr. Newt Bighorn.
Lettering by Dr. Newt Bighorn,
Oh, lettering, yes.
Possibly a pseudonym.
What? You think people aren't called Bighorn? Yeah.
So that's me again. Okay,
Let's
so
go.
yep. So this secretary for the trash can band steals the demo tape for their next album, and after a little scuffle, escapes and steals a car, and then the other girl from the Tinkling Triangles, her hair color changes, and she goes on the motorcycle. The 1950s version of the Judge Dredd movie Lawmaster. And then the Triangle's family gets in their trashed vehicle and goes chasing after them. And there's a time travel thing. And then they end up.
What are they chasing after them for?
They're chasing after their secretary because she stole the tapes. I said that.
Did you?
Yes.
All right.
It's okay. We've all had lapses where we're not paying attention.
Senior moments.
Yeah, senior moments. You tolerate mine. I don't call out yours. So anyway.
You just did, Rossy. That's very passive aggressive of you. It's like last week. It's like last week where we were reviewing This Comic is Haunted, and Rossy has to get in Dave's comic. There's a little dig for Dave. See, the passive aggressiveness of him is incredible.
Yeah, that's
Dave's comic.
That's because you kept saying it's Dave's comic.
No, that means that you actually don't believe it's Dave's comic. You're still thinking that. It's what's his name? And
no, it's Dave's comic. No ifs, ands, or buts. So anyway, I was saying because you kept saying it's Dave's comic. So anyway,
sure.
So they go in. This is all much more interesting than the strip itself. So anyway, they time travel back to Mars 300 years in the past, and the first lady, the secretary lady, crashes, and I believe it's in front of the sheriff from the Martian story that runs. Okay, and she stops a cop, which I believe is the cop also from the Martian law strip from BLAZER, and she wants to go to a recording studio where she can do something with this tape, and he takes her to meet this clearly Elvis inspired character who I think might be from Martian Law as well, but everything he says is a reference to an Elvis song, so it's really subtle that way. And then they cut it off there, but it's gonna come back later in the story.
Yeah, this was a mess, and I think all the Triangle stories are a mess. I did like the artwork though, but I absolutely lost interest really quick in this because I thought it was messy.
Mm-hmm.
But the artwork is great. I love the artwork. The artist is really good.
Yeah, I agree with you on everything. If I remember correctly, the Triangle story was written and created by Steve McManus, and Brendan Wright drew it. And Brendan Wright wrote and created the Martian Law story, so he's connecting his two strips in this one here. And the Triangles thing, first they were the Tinkling Triangles. It's based on those like family groups like the Partridge Family and the Brady Kids and all those, like there would be a family that performed, not so much the Osmonds, because mom and dad Osmond weren't like part of the musical act, but it's one of those things where it's like the mom and dad and the kids are all part of this musical act. That's the premise.
Do you think that Robert Cripp, the artist, is actually a pen name? Because this looks like Mike Collins art, like real rough Mike Collins art.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because
Doesn't
it's
Mike have a
definitely
strip in
not
it?
Brendan's art.
Mike has a strip in here as well under his real name, doesn't he?
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that does look like Mike Collins did this as well.
You could be right about that. Yeah. So yeah, the artwork's fine, but like the whole premise of the Tinkling Triangles thing, I thought got pretty tired, pretty like a lot of these like, hey, here's an idea, and then it's like, and then it goes on and on and on and on. Yeah, so I thought we were kind of done with that, but apparently not. And so, and then to tie him in, like I've read Martial Law 3 times. I read it when they came out in each issue, then I read them all at once, and then I read them all when they were reprinted in Antarctic Press's Planet Comics anthology. And the more I read it, the more I got into it, the more I liked it, and the more I appreciated all the details and the little.
The artwork is brilliant on it too.
The original run, yeah. So, yeah, and it's just kind of like a bunch of wacky stuff happens on Mars in a retro future, and these small town kind of characters go through their thing, and it's fun. This one, because it's 2 strips tied together, you kind of I feel like I missed stuff because I don't remember them that much, because it's been a while, right? It's been a couple of years since last Martian Law. So it feels like I'm missing a lot by not remembering all the details of both strips, and I don't think I should have to do that kind of homework. So there you go.
Yeah, what do you think, John?
I agree with what you're saying there, that the reference to the 2 strips, and the problem is because the other strip was so long ago, it does sort of take a bit of the enjoyment out. But saying that, I enjoyed certain references and certain quirks to this, like the giant broccoli fields, and then basically saying like this is a bit like Superman, basically, with the lifting of the trucks and all that. Artwork was fantastic. I love the introduction at the end of Elvis Priestley. It's just the slight alterations and stuff that make me laugh. And then obviously we know what's coming with the reference to the oranges. We know there's a term coming because obviously we've read the next part. And I did laugh at that, I've got to admit. But yeah, it's a bit like you say, you've got to know that other strip, but because you can't remember it, it's like, oh, there's something missing from here. But I enjoyed it.
But my problem with the whole set, John did, but my problem with the whole setup for that oranges gag is that character, first of all, it's from a completely different comic book. It's not referring to itself in any way. And so there's this big projected setup for that. And that character was based on Marlon Brando, right? And this is Elvis. So
yeah, both fatties at the end.
So I get what they tried to do, but it was like it's not really close enough to be a parody. It's like Weird Al says, the song has to sound exactly like the original or people aren't going to get the joke. And it's like you're going to great pains to make this character Elvis when the other thing happened to Marlon Brando. So I get it, but I don't.
Talking about Weird Al, that was another movie I saw that I didn't mention. The new Naked Gun with Liam Neeson is absolutely hilarious, and Weird Al makes two appearances in it.
So there is a connection too, because Weird Al did the Spy Hard theme, which starred Leslie Nielsen, who was the star of the original Naked Gun movies. So there you go. Yeah, I definitely want to see it. It's on my list, but oh my God, I could never watch that with my dad. He would find it so not funny, even though it might be.
So, like, the funny part is, like, do you suspect foul play? I don't think a chicken is capable of doing this.
You're just laughing because he's Irish.
D-Day Dodgers. Did you read it, John?
This is me, yes.
Yeah, finally.
A platoon of Tommies are dug in on high ground, awaiting the attacking Germans once again. But due to their radio being shot to shit, the radio operator is sent back to HQ to request reinforcements. Another attack happens, and it's vicious hand-to-hand combat, and then it all becomes quiet. The Germans thinking they've finally taken the position until they hear a roll call. Little did they know that it was Jack Ward and his dummy Sir Arthur Mojo, pretending to be the many names that replied during the roll call earlier. Then reinforcements arrived, and they decided to have Sir Arthur as their regimental mascot.
The spot illustrations are nice. I didn't read it though. I don't read text stories and annuals.
Now, this is the only one I've ever read in an annual. And it says at the end,
Wow.
Portions of this story are, because I can't be asked. Portions of this story are based on the true account of Kenneth McAlpine's experiences on the Anzio landing found in his book, We Died With Our Boots Clean. Now, whether that's true, I didn't do any research on that to check.
No, it's a joke.
Well, I know,
it's a joke.
But you never know. You've got to believe everything you read, Mr. Ross. And do you know what I'm going to do now is when you do the next review, I'm actually going to research that and see if it's real. But yeah, I did like the spot illustrations, especially the opening one in the trenches. I do like his artwork, Joseph McCafferty. And the story was quite nice, nicely done. And a play on the old roll call bit. So yeah, it was enjoyable. But like I say, I never read these things in anything because a comic is a comic for me. It's not a novel with a couple of pictures.
Yeah, that's what pissed off all the Batman fans when Grant Morrison did that one whole prose comic. Yeah,
Wow.
he did a Batman run that was actually pretty good, and then smack bang in the middle of it, he did just one a whole prose. It was just like reading a book, and that pissed people off. Like, I'm not buying this I'm buying a comic book for a comic, not to read a novel.
Yeah, I mean, he is a book writer. It's not like it's going to be terrible, but
yeah. Blazers, Hot Shots, Our Man and Alamein, Shadow of the Mummy. Story Dave Healy, art Mike Walters, and letters Andrew Richmond. It's great that Dave got such mileage out of the idea I gave him of having Christopher Lee like a James Bond character fighting the supernatural. Well done, Dave.
Right, ready?
That was my idea, damn it.
Wait, before you move on, John, I didn't. Okay, so I read the story too. I didn't understand. Was this sort of like a supernatural tale? Because the roll call, they do the roll call, and then the guy's dead. They find the guy dead. Did he just manage to get the roll off and then died after, or
he basically died just as they sort of got there, or he just died after they're doing the roll call. So he was doing the voice, you know what I mean? And then,
I see.
That's it. So they might have tried that bit, but anyway,
was the dummy alive and doing
like in that, was it Christopher Peter Cushing was in one of those films where he did dummy, didn't he? I think one of the old horror films. Anyway, so
go ahead.
So AC Cheyenne, or Shane, or we pronounce that, and his Corporal JB are on patrol in the desert when a Stuka makes a strafing run at them. Due to English awesomeness, a 50 cal was fixed to the rear of the Land Rover, and they shoot the bastard out of the sky. And when they inspect the wreckage, they find it was piloted by a person wrapped up in bandages. Earlier, though, an Egyptian had awoken Pharaoh Khufu and asked him to drive back the super cool English and the horrible Hun from their lands. First off, Khufu goes to the Africa Corps HQ and puts his own plan in motion. Meanwhile, Shane and JB return and come face to face with some mummies, but can't take them out with their weapons. So just like the ingenious Brits they are, they grab some flamethrowers and save the day. And once they kill the leader, the rest fell to the ground. And then they continue and win World War II by themselves.
See, they shouldn't have done anything at all. They should have just left everything alone and not bothered being in the desert, because the US would have bailed them out anyways.
Oh, dear.
The artwork is amazing. I love the artwork, and I like the story too. Dave did a great job.
Yeah, I like these stories.
Yeah, the artwork's fantastic. I love the is it grayscale on this one?
Yeah, great tone.
Sepia.
Yeah, sepia tone.
And I love the sort of like when he needs to do it, you've got to do the shadow effect, like when they're on the camels and you've got the sand under them and they're all shadowed out with the sort of dust stormy effect in the background. And I did like when they actually get the old flamethrower, you've got that red tinge onto the artwork. For all the flame. So, and obviously they went the old route of when you kill the leader, the rest all die straight away, which is used in many things, vampires and Game of Thrones and all that sort of stuff. So,
Dave has a habit of picking the best artist for himself, doesn't he? He does. Like this artist, Mike Walters, is really damn good. I mean, Dave did well getting him.
Yeah, well, this one wasn't even his book.
Yeah. But I think I think the Christopher Lee character appeared in This Comic Is Haunted as well.
If you look at that first page with the corporal behind the wheel, it looks like he's got a tash. That might be just shadow, but it looks like he's got a tash there.
Yeah, it does. Just I think it's supposed to be shadow.
Although I did have a tash when I was in the military. Oh shit! Giving the game away.
All right. Do you like the Blazers art competition thing? It even has Dave did a drawing of the vampire mummy and Frankenstein.
Is it Dave or is it? I had no help whatsoever from my sister.
Oh, it's Joe.
Joe.
I'm laughing because I do recognise some names drawn by Matthew Ellis. Matthew Ellis.
Yeah, even I know.
And then 10-year-old Filippo from Falkirk. Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Mark Baumgarten, isn't he the Doctor Who podcast guy?
Yes, I think he is. Yes.
Yes.
One by Andrew Sawyers. I bet you that was supposed to be one Derringer and Son, but Sawyers can't follow a brief, so he did a woman instead.
But he assures us he is still a schoolboy.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing this as a 30-second video with suicidal tendencies in the background. So
all he wanted was a Coke.
Yeah, Pepsi. God,
Pepsi. Oh, there you
she wouldn't give it to him.
All right. I know the secret of the alien. Story Mike Powell, art Mike Collins or Mike Collins. Mike Collins.
All right. So panel 1, there's a Biotron and a Croy or two from the Micronauts. The end, because there's no point in doing this. It's already a reprint. So there's this. All right. So to be fair, there's this character kind of like the Men in Black from 2000 AD and the Crypt Keeper called the Traveler, and he's telling the story of this guy who gets an idea of the kids are really into space stuff, so I'm going to do a space show. And he tells his boss at the TV station, we're going to investigate aliens and mysteries all around the world, and it'll be a popular show. So they assemble a crew, and it is a popular show. And he becomes kind of a celebrity, and he's on a talk show with Rod Hull and his emu, and Grace Jones. And so he goes home to tell his wife, and while they're talking about how awesome and successful it is, it's revealed that he's an alien, and it was all a psyop, and she's an alien, and it was all a psyop to get people to not believe in aliens so they won't expect what's coming. The end.
It's actually really good. I love the artwork. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, we've had this sort of tale over the decades, but it was very enjoyable. Now, what I thought of, if only he'd drawn the character who puts his show forward, if he'd drawn him as you, Rossy, with your fucking uniform from your Devil Blue Dress video, it would have been awesome. Because this is the sort of shit if you were given the money and you were told do some documentary stuff, this is what I can see you doing.
Oh, yeah. Well, actually, then you'd have to move things around, because then I'd have the Micronauts on my desk. and the posters on the wall too. I used to have Micronaut prints on the in the garage, up on the garage.
The garage.
I did laugh at the
not this garage,
Micronaut,
the old house.
What? I did laugh at the Micronaut in the splash panel because I automatically thought of you, Rossy.
Aw. Well, I mean, to be fair, there's a Space 99 Eagle, which I did used to have, and the Planet of the Apes figure, which I did used to have, and a Dalek. Space 99 Eagle, I sold it to my friend, and he put it in with his hoarder stash, and I never saw it again.
They were well sought after when I was at school to get an Eagle.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, I had two of them. One I bought at a yard sale, so parts were missing, and the other one I bought like on clearance. So
Clarence.
yeah, I mean, the show wasn't a huge hit here, so when it ran its course, you could get some of the stuff pretty cheap. I think I might have, and the Planet of the Apes thing, I think I might still have the parts, like the head.
Was that Amigo?
Yes, who also made the Micronauts, at least in the States.
Yeah, I thought that was great. This is a very professional. Well, Mike Collins is a professional. Just beautiful artwork, nice little story. Like John said, something you would have seen in the Prague back in the 80s or 70s.
Yeah, this is 100% like down to the lettering, down to everything.
Yeah,
this is it.
Yeah, that's fun dabby dozy. It was fantastic.
Yeah, if we get to the end.
I also laughed at was when he introduced the team, we get the whole team together, because I was thinking in my head, I would love to see this lot doing stuff. Big Mike, Tiger Deakins, Kurt Harris, and Powder O'Neill. I just think, yeah, get them out doing some stuff, but obviously not to be, because it was all just to get the end lines in.
Well, I mean, they could do something without him.
Well, true.
They could do a prequel. So if and when we get to the end, and when I accidentally pick this as my favorite one, it's not because I'm biased in any way, shape, or form.
All right, the Trash Can Triangles, Strife on Mars Part 2, Brendan Wright. Jesus, I'll have to zoom in on that now. My eyes aren't. I'm getting Rossy eyes.
Donny Guerre.
Yeah, Brent Doniguer and Dr. Duke Bighorn doing lettering again.
Oh yeah, it is a different art style, isn't it? So
yeah, it's a different artist. All three of the triangles are different artists, which is confusing.
This one was similar enough to the other one that
there's no point.
Anyway, so so time travel, and then there's a reference to the cafe where a lot of the action in Martian Law took place, and they time travel back to the junkyard where she meets a bunch of female bikers. Tiffany Triangle. Oh, wait a minute. This is I can't tell these things apart. Anyway, it's the teenage girl from the team, from the singing triangle group. She meets a bunch of female bikers, may or not be lesbian. Depends on how involved in the story you want to get. And then she wants. See, this is where the story was fucking confusing to me.
Yeah, I found the whole thing.
Why
all
is there
to be a mess?
Why is there like tank combat going on in the background? They asked her if she wants to rock and roll, and she's like, no, I don't like rock and roll, because they're a country band. But they take her to a place where she can make a hit single, which happens to be the studio where Pseudo Elvis is recording, and they say something about heavy metal, and he's put off by it first, but then he wants to try it. And then the family bus arrives, and then the lesbian bikers arrive, and then they try to stop Elvis from doing his thing.
It's a mess.
Yeah, and then the family shows up, and then meanwhile the tiny little miniature character, who's miniature for reasons never explained in any of the previous installments, because it's Steve McManus's weird humor, so why would it be? He gets a jetpack and goes on reconnaissance somewhere else, and that's going to lead into another installment of the story. So there you go.
Yeah. the artist is great. I love the artwork, but it is confusing to have 3 different artist styles and the same story throughout the book. But the artwork is really, really beautiful. But the story, man, it just doesn't do anything for me.
It's because they're trying to tell this. They're trying to tell this story, which is already based on Steve McManus's kind of like weird concept and weird sense of humor, and attach it to. They're trying to tell this story, but this story with its weird concept in the background is also being attached to Brendan Wright's weird story, and they're trying to fit in as many callbacks as possible to Martian Law as well. And there's a lot of there's like 5 characters in the triangle story, and then now they're introducing the Elvis thing and the
bikers,
the female bikers, and all this other stuff. I don't remember the Elvis character or the bikers from Martian Law, but they seem to be coming out of even if they were from Martian Law, they seem to be coming out of nowhere in this story. So it's like really confusing, like you said.
Yeah, I think you nailed it, Rossy.
So,
what do you think, John?
Yeah, I agree with everything that's said. Although it did have my favourite picture in the whole annual, where she says, "There's nobody going to say mind the oranges, Elvis. It's just the way she's holding those oranges," and that's where I'll leave it.
All right. Next up, we have Professor Kronos and the Invasion of the Vornak by Albert Henry Smith.
All right. It sounds like it's me again.
Of course.
Okay, John. Thanks, buddy. So this girl is rushing to get herself, she's late for her job, and then she meets this character who's sort of like Doctor Who. Basically an amalgam of old-timey 70s Doctor Who characters, very mod though, and they go to the future, and there's like this alien invasion going on, and they meet a hero from 2025, obviously destined to have her own next Netflix show. And I forgot what the deal was. I think it was that they talked to this like Wizard of Oz head, and it turns out
bad guy.
Basically Doctor Who had started the war and was known as the Butcher of Orion 5. And
just like the War Doctor in the Doctor Who series.
Yeah, and so they kind of gloss over that one, and he tells his assistant to press the red button, which blows everything up. And he's also the captain of the Enterprise, apparently, too. And they gloss over the whole Orion thing and go on to future adventures, with TikTok being his catchphrase, which I thought was very clever.
Yeah, it was okay. It was fun. It's a nice little intro to a character they can do a whole series on. Like if he wants to write Doctor Who type stories.
Yeah, I thought as far as Doctor Who pastiches goes, this was really good.
Yeah.
The artwork was a little amateur hour, but I will allow it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, you reminded me of, like you say, the 70s sort of fashion sense of Doctor Who. But when the Doctor Who came back in that movie that I don't know what year it was.
Yeah, the Spielberg movie.
Was it Spielberg?
Yeah, Spielberg produced that for ABC.
For Fox. No, it was Fox.
It was a Fox.
It was a big deal. There was a Fox thing.
Was it Paul McGann?
It wasn't Paul McGann. Was it Paul McGann? One of those brothers.
Yeah. Well, that's what it reminded me of there, the crossover of that. I quite enjoyed it. Got straight to the point with all the what the aliens called. Fucking hell. The Vornax.
The Vornak. Yeah, you're right. It was Paul McGann.
Yeah, so it was quite nice. I did like the interaction stuff, like the big red button. Just missed off, you silly cow. But yeah, enjoyable stuff. Artwork's nice, and yeah, it does have a look of the Star Trek bridge when you get on the final page.
Mm-hmm. Well, with this kind of story, the tone is the tone and the details are kind of important. Even though I kind of took a swipe at the art, they nailed all the details really well, I think. So, and there was a lot to it. And there was a lot going on. So
It was
if
easy
they
to
want to
follow.
bring, yes. So if they want to bring this one back, that was part of what threw me trying to describe it, because so much was happening in it. But yeah, it's pretty good. I hope they do more with this character.
Do you remember the outrageousness over the American Doctor Who TV movie, Rossy? Do you remember what the big scandal was?
There was a scandal, but I don't remember what it was.
The Doctor kissed his companion.
Oh, wow!
They were making love.
I remember before it aired, there was a Simpsons gag where they were trying, where you could go to this.
That's the one with the Daleks trying to get up the stairs.
No, that must have come later, because this was like the first time I'd ever heard Doctor Who referenced on an American TV show, and I assumed that it was because it was Fox. Simpsons was on Fox, and this TV movie was on Fox, and they were kind of like prepping you for it. But the Bart was going to go to a place where he could get a deal with, which was 100 tacos for $100, and he'd won 100. He got a $100 check, and he was wondering where he could spend it. And then they show the comic book guy coming out with a wheelbarrow full of tacos, and he goes, "This should be adequate sustenance for the Doctor Who marathon." And I thought that was.
They also did another reference where the Dalek they showed a scene where the Dalek couldn't get up the stairs. Like, that's how you defeat the Daleks.
The cutaway, right?
Yeah, and then they did one in the Android. What's the name of the comic shop? Wasn't it the Android's Basement or something?
The Android's Dungeon.
Dungeon, yeah. They had Doctor Who and Leela sealed, like as if they were bagged and sealed.
Oh, is that the one where they had Xena on the wall too?
Yeah, actually, it might be Xena. I'm thinking Leela, but it's Xena and it's Doctor Who on there too.
Yeah.
But the writers didn't do their homework though on the Dalek scene, because here's my nerdiness coming out. In the Sylvester McCoy Doctor Who era, the Daleks could actually go up steps. They could hover.
Yes, I remember that. I remember that awesome special effect.
They could hover up the steps. Yeah, fun times.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We have Stacey Whittle interviewing people, and I didn't read it. Did you read it?
I did. It was very short, and it felt like, to me, it was generic answers. I think she only got like 3 questions. So I'd rather had when you see an interview done and it'll say like Stacey Whittle, hairlines, Dan Cornwell, his lines. I'd rather have had that without all the extra bump. But I did like seeing the behind the scenes imagery of the actual artwork and the script. So it was enjoyable. Just could have done a little bit more of the actual spiel.
So why this one was funny is because there's so much text about the place where they had the interview and the setting and the background and the noise and all that, and then she'd ask him like a real softball question, and he'd give her like a 1-line answer. I think there's only like 3 questions asked in this whole thing, but this whole text is about like the venue and describing the drinking of the
3 ladies
double diamond. Yeah. So that's I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Oh, Deathmatch, Black Sabbath versus the Masked Reaper. Story art lettering by Andrew Richmond. And this is a continuation from one of the BLAZER issues itself.
Yeah.
So it wasn't really standalone. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think? You like wrestling, Rossy? You'd like this.
It's really simple. I think that's part of the joke. It's like really simple, like,
it's like Itchy and Scratchy. They fight. Itchy and Scratchy.
Yeah, the joke is that he's on the Big Bends. I feel evil. There is evil. He's in a graveyard. Ghoulies come out and then fight, wrestling moves. And then he pulls off the talisman and then, I'll get you, He-Man. And that's it.
Yeah. It's fun.
And then he
And-
traced an Ozzy Osbourne picture. The
I
end.
was
Yeah,
sorry.
yes.
I was about to say, who's that in the bottom left picture on the final page?
It's the Prince of fucking Darkness.
Yeah. And I did like the way they used the purple on it as well. So purple, black, and white, quite nicely done there.
Yeah, I like this art style.
Yeah.
I think he's kind of found a good style for him, as long as the story calls for this type of thing.
It reminds
Yeah.
me a little bit, without the colour, when I used to pick up the black and white American stuff like Creepy Tales. They were sort of like,
Oh,
short,
yeah.
yeah, that sort of stuff. And you might have like 5 or 6 things inside. That's what reminds me of if you take away the purple. That in some of the strips in there. So that takes me back to when I was doing my paper round. When I was
So I'm gonna do a deep cut because I think I know the guy from. I think I know this artist from someplace else, but I also think he did some 2000 AD work at one point.
Oh, Andrew Richmond.
No, this it reminds me of a guy. I believe his name is Adrian Salmon.
Oh,
yeah.
don't.
I've got something to
Oh
say. I've got
no,
something to say.
don't say he's like that.
Adrian
Why?
Salmon.
Salmon is
Do you-
terrible.
Okay,
His work is horrendous.
but it's like real. That's real minimalistic.
Well, graphic,
sort of
yeah. You
angular.
said, yeah.
Yeah, I mean the storytelling in this one's a lot better. I always had a hard time following his because I'd seen him do book cover. I'm pretty sure I'd seen Adrian Salmon do book covers, and I remember thinking, well, I like the book covers because I don't have to follow the sequential artwork. But when you have to follow his sequential work, it was really difficult to follow. I have a
Yeah.
French friend who's like that too, where like if you just see a single image he does, it's awesome. But when he has to break it down and you have to follow what's going on in each panel, it's like impossible to follow what's happening.
He
So,
did one of
but-
the worst. Salmon did one of the worst magazine stories in history.
Okay, I
it was written
remember
by
that.
Dan. It was written by Dan Cornwell. I think it was called Doom Watch or Judge Watch or something about a judge that goes back in time to Shakespeare's time.
Oh, I think I remember that. I remember it
I'm
being
sorry if you do.
frustrating. No, I remember it for being frustrating to follow. But so anyway, you can it in a much better way, in a much more enjoyable read. You can see where I would make that comparison, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But this one's a lot easier to follow and much more pleasant to read and da 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 da. So
Well, you're right. And the art style is very minimalist in certain ways, just like Salmon's artwork was. But I think that's where the comparisons end.
yeah. So
Yeah. So Andrew, if you're listening, we're not saying you're like Salmon's.
no,
Artwork.
you're like Salmon in the best possible way.
Well,
You're like
yeah.
you're like an improvement.
Yeah. I'll agree with that, Rossy.
Okay.
Did you read the Blaze Away, the letters?
Yes. Yes. It was.
I think there was more letters. I think there was more in this annual Blazer than there was in all of 2000 AD last year.
Probably.
Well, if I mean, assuming these are all real, and going by the art page, I'm going to assume that they are. They get more engagement for this than like all of indie comics in general. I mean,
You're not wrong.
I will try social. Well, in the FemForce group, they were saying like, "Hey, remember when you used to get an issue of FemForce and there'd be like a 2-page letters page, and people write paragraphs about what the characters meant to them and the stories, and there was a ton of fan engagement. And now it's like, yeah, here's a picture of a cover of the issue I just bought, and it's like that's it. Or here's a picture of a cover from 20 years ago. That's it. That's the engagement. And I'm trawling social media looking for any kind of review or mention of or whatever I did, and it's like a couple of guys liked it in all the whole world. So okay, it's worth the effort. So at least they're getting, at least they got fans, and even if they have to pay them £3.
All right. Let's see. Trash Can Timmy. Story Berg Northwind, of course, that's a made-up name. Art Brendan Wright, and letters Dr. Duke Bighorn.
I think Berg Northwind is an anagram of Brendan Wright.
Brendan Wright.
Yeah. So, because in the part where he signs it at the top near the logo, it's just 100% him. So, yeah. So the Timmy Triangle, who's like the little miniature character for unexplained reasons, his Rocketeer rocket pack conks out, and we're going to introduce a whole nother thing in this story because there isn't enough going on. You guys got to help me out there. He ends up at a farm where there's these disembodied brains, and there's a mad scientist, and so there's going to be a brain in a robot body, and he befriends one of them, and then there's a giant mouse in Speedos or in underwear with cheese on it, obviously indicating the Famunda cheese from under your bowls. So
Oh my God.
so the scientist
Oh my God, Rossy.
so then the scientist blah blah blah, the robot from the black hole and a Dalek are in his lab, and I don't know, the kid from they give the kid from the Triangles a robot for him to control that can iron and bake, and then there's going to be more in Blazer.
Which is a cheat, and I hated that. Absolutely.
So there's
hated
no
that.
end to the Triangle story, I think.
Yeah,
Was there an end to it?
No. Nope.
And there's no end to this one. It's going to keep going on.
Yep.
Okay. Luckily, it's not.
Yeah,
actually
that
a
was that.
weekly
So
comic.
yes, and it was kind of pointless to put all 3 episodes of the Triangles in there. I thought that was a bad decision.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's no end to it.
It felt like they had more issues. It felt like they had more installments of this done than they had actual issues of Blazer to put them in. And because Blazer tends to come out maybe once or twice a year, they're like, well, let's just play catch up and put them in this thing. This is an unfair guess at what the editorial decision may have been behind the scenes, but that's what it kind of felt like it may have been. And had they done that, well, I don't know if it'd be better or worse to have done that, because if you read them like 1, 2, 3, all in this thing, like I did all at once this morning, it kind of makes sense. But if I had to read each installment like months apart, it would have been even more confusing. Like, what the hell happened? Because there's no recap, there's no explanation. It's just kind of like this feeling of a pause where there's this feeling of something missing, where it's like that must have been a callback to something I've forgotten from 2 or 3 years ago in Martian Law or the other Triangle story. So, but I got to hand it to him. There was a lot of imagination, and the artwork in this one, I really like Brendan Wright's artwork. So, it's kind of hard to dislike it. It's just frustrating.
Yeah, I wouldn't have. It had to have an ending for me to like it at all.
Yeah.
So it's yeah. I didn't care for it. Although I do like the art in all 3 installments. What do you think, John?
Even in the old 2000 AD annuals, not every story was a banger. So
I just thought
but not every story was to be continued.
Yeah, I just thought it was like you say, it was an extra strip that didn't need to be in. Although I did love the final image with the Iron Man or Whisk Man, whatever you want to call that robot. But yeah, artwork was nice. Story was like not really that much.
Yeah. All right, we have a little poster, Trash Can Triangles by Peter Weston, I think. There we go. Nice. And then we have a reprint section.
Wait. So this is the trash. Now this band looks nothing like the Trash Can Triangles family band. This looks like a Frank Zappa meets Spinal Tap.
Yeah.
And why it's like I don't
It might have been an image that Peter Western did, and then just let's just call it the Trash Can Triangles, or whatever, even though it's not them.
Well, is the blonde the girl from? They're trying to get the Elvis.
The
in
Repo.
story,
It looks like the Repost girls, doesn't it?
Yeah, the girl who no, yeah, that's initially what I thought, and then I thought, well, to be fair, it's because it's that artist, but then it's like the characters is that the blonde girl who stole the demo tape from
Who knows?
their safe? Is that guy looks like
Stop thinking too much.
What's his name from Spinal Tap? And there's a character that looks like Frank Zappa. What the hell? So
yeah, it's all over the place, isn't it?
I've got to be tea in 5 minutes. Come on.
All right, go.
All right, we're on to the
This is a
reprint
war
section.
Story. It has to be you, John.
Yeah, it's the reprint section of the annual. Godwin's, although the last 2 pages I think are new material. Yeah. Godwin's Law, Steve McManus, Dan Cornwell. Actually, this is the best that Steve McManus has done, and Andrew Richmond on letters.
Burma, where the Brits were pretty awesome in World War II. Baptist minister Moses Godwin is driving some sexy evacuees away from Mandalay on a Jap bike and sidecar carrying
it says Japanese.
No, when a sidecar carrying 3 nips forces him off the dusty trail and crashes into a tree. When he wakes up and the women are dead and probably not as warm as he'd like, when all of a sudden he hears Sister Sarah, who is now a prisoner of those 3 bastards from the land of the 2 atomic bombs. He rescues her in proper hero fashion, and then she tells him, "Oh my God, you've lost your left eye," like in that pop group from America. He's not bothered, and they decide to exact an eye.
Is it a dead eye?
Oh my God! I'm prepared.
Oh God!
Is he a sniper? Anyway, and prepare for the next episode. Sister Sarah is quite famished, and Godwin tells her that the Lord will provide. And come the morning, an airdrop lands near them, which contains food for the Chindits. They set off on the motorbike and sidecar, and soon crash into a river because he's only got 1 eye, only to be rescued by the aforementioned Chindits. They tell Sarah that she'll be evacuated this afternoon via one of the RAF DC-3s. Godwin, though, has other ideas and stays behind, only to vanish into the jungle, never to be seen again. Step forward to near the end of the war. It's 1944 now, and on board a ship heading to Australia. Sister Sarah is just about to have a look at one of the injured soldiers when she sees that he has a missing left eye and looks just like Moses Godwin. She faints, just like the weaker sex do, but this chap is actually called Isaac. Then the ship comes under attack from a lone Jap fighter, and the gun crew open up, only to be killed. So Isaac takes over and saves the day, only to die as well. And at that exact moment in time, 1,000 miles away, Moses Godwin dies. Unbeknownst to each other, they were twins, separated at birth.
Yeah, I didn't like that ending, but also I think that they should have changed the Japanese to Japs, because that's the way people would have spoke back in those days.
Exactly.
They should have said it 6 or 7 or 8 times in that.
Yes, yeah, which is disappointing that they gave in to the woke crowd on that one.
That's right. And when out of school, what to be playing the school playground? Japs and Commandos.
I don't think he wanted to be sitting there with a Sharpie blackening out words again. So
if you want to write a story at the time,
well, the period, that's what you write.
You know, everything else was true to the tone and time of the period and all that, but then this one just felt so 21st century to me. So
it's fantastic though. I loved it.
Yeah.
No, I'm
if
just
you're gonna do a reprint of an annual, you can't go wrong with Dan Cornwell.
Yeah.
Well, plus, I mean, it was cool that they attached it to a new story too. You know, you got some to remind you what had happened before, and then it's like, oh, and here's the finale. This is Steve McManus's weird sense of humor and crazy ideas kind of gelling better than usual.
Yeah, doing better. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it really felt like a war story from that period. I mean, jokes aside, it really did feel like the kind of stuff that they would have done back in the day.
Yeah.
Some weird gimmick.
Yeah, I loved it. Thought it was fantastic. Brilliant stuff. Probably I can't pick it as my favorite because it is mainly a
Reprint.
reprint. Yeah, because it's a reprint, but it was one of my favorites in the annual. All right. What we got last? We got that. Oh, they used to do this shit all the time in animals.
Yeah.
What do they call it? The mobile.
Hang it up with your child's cot.
yeah, yeah. You'd have that hanging in your child's cot. It was great. Oh,
Yeah.
Rossy got cut off.
Yeah.
Well, I let him back in. If I let him back in, you'll get cut off.
Well, I'm going to go soon because I've got tea.
All right. So what was your? Well, I'll call him back in a minute. What was your favorite story?
I'm going to have to go. I know the secret of the alien because it was exactly what I remember reading. You know, again, there was other strips very similar, but it was a spot on. This was. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed the artwork and all the little sort of like Easter eggs that were strewn throughout it. And like exactly like you said, Godwin's Law would have been right up there, but it was all reprinted apart from the final 2 pages, which was was it an epilogue? Did they say it was an epilogue? I think they did. Yeah, the epic. Now read the tragic epilogue to Godwin's Law.
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed it, and there were so many strips in there. Even with a couple of misses, it was still enjoyable and well worth getting.
To the listeners that are still with us, that noise, that dinging going on is Rossy trying to call. Oh, he stopped trying to call us. Yeah, great stuff. I'll go with the same. Let me see if I can add him back in. God, the problem with this is that if I add him back in, you get cut out.
Yeah.
So
well, I shall say goodbye then.
Well, all right. So let me see if I can add him back in. Let's see. Calling him. Rossy, you there? Nope. Calling. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's see if he cuts you. All right. Anyway,
you sign off, John?
Yeah, you have to go. So, what was your favorite story?
Oh, needless to say, the Traveler one with the Micronauts, but not just because of the Micronauts.
I think all 3 of us are in agreement then.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right, so I think that's it. I think we're done. Anything you say before we hit the road?
Yes. If you want, folks, you could buy Shaman Kane or pre-order Shaman Kane #1 from Antarctic Press. It's going to be a little pricey, but I've been told it's going to have a nice foil cover on it, and it's in the Lunar Previews catalog right now, or wherever you theoretically you should be able to order it from your favorite comic store or off of mycomicshop.com right now.
Cool. And with that, we'll stop recording.